What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How are you guys doing out there? My beautiful people out there in YouTube land. Thank you for everybody watching, everybody in chat. Shout out to everybody shown to. I see you, Andrew. Everybody in chat. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us once again. Retweet the link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. We love you guys. You want to do this every single weekend with us. Once again, hit the subscribe button, like the video. It does help the algorithm and all that good stuff. But we appreciate you guys' support. Just you guys spending a little bit of your time with us, a couple hours on Saturday evenings is enough for us. And we got a phenomenal show. I personally have been chomping at the bits to get to talk about everything going on this week. Obviously, we got some new news. I've been tapped into that since I'm pretty casual, according to some people that I know very close to me. But anyway,
facts. Those people seem very smart,
right? That's just a rumor. We haven't confirmed that yet. I'm just rumored to be a casual. We haven't got that. That's still up in the air. But shout out to everybody watching live. We appreciate it. We got a phenomenal brand new guest on the show as well. You guys know what we do with the brand new guests. Go down in the description. Go show some love, support for them coming on with us, hanging out with us, spending a little bit of time with us on Saturday evening to entertain all of us and give us this really good gaming podcast and, kind of break down all of this fantastic news. Shout out to my boy K Asante, Ghost Fixter in chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into our guest, man. Once again, first-time guest. I am a fan of him and the entire conglomerate they got over there, but I'll let him get into the details on that. Once again, shout out to you, Amon, hanging out with us, spending a little time with us this Saturday. But let everybody know where they can find you, what you guys are about over there at Save the Game Media.
Wow, thank you so much for the intro, PTK Blam. I'm honored to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me. So I'm a co-founder of Save the Game Media. So we're a podcast network. We have podcasts about gaming, movies, TV shows, all of that good stuff. If you're into nerd culture, make sure to head in the description down below, check out our channel, and subscribe for daily content. And yeah, thank you guys for inviting me, and I'm excited to talk about some games, gentlemen.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you hanging out. Once again, chat, do us a favor. Go show that love, support. Shout out to you, Zink, General Spartan. You guys know what to do. Go follow, go subscribe, go listen to the podcast, all of that good stuff. What's up, Blue? Shout out to you. That means Ashtray's not too far behind. We know the frauds stick together. The frauds stick together. You guys hang out. So let's go ahead and throw this over to my co-host, man. I've been doing too much talking. What's up, Pong? How you feeling, brother?
Another Saturday. Another 4.5 hour living split screen, and now I am here with you fine gentlemen. So today has been a good day. Got all my shopping done for the weekend. Ready to sit down and relax and enjoy myself for tonight and tomorrow. So this has been good. And it's great to have the young blood in the house. He just dropped our average age here on this panel by about 20 years.
Yeah.
So thank you, Amon.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome to have Amon here. I've had the pleasure of being on Project X Talk with the boys over there a few times now. And it's been quite a while, though. So it's great to hear Amon's voice again. He comes with a lot of youthful knowledge and excitement, so that's always a good thing.
Thank you, Pong. I'm flattered. I'm flattered. Mr. Encyclopedia himself is crazy.
That's overblown, sir. Thanks to Matt, that's overblown. But anyways, no, great to have you here, Amon. Appreciate you giving us your time, man, and joining us tonight. It's gonna be a fun show. This week, man, I'm back in full grazer mode, PTK. Full grazer mode here. This is getting crazy now. It started with Watch Dogs 2, and then I've been still rocking that this week. But then I also, due to the Microsoft rewards, sometimes they grab you. You go in there and get the points real quick, and next thing you know, you're playing a game that you didn't think about playing at one time.
True.
Dishonored 2. Back into Dishonored 2 again. Getting used to 30 frames, because I might have to with Starfield. We'll see how that turns out. So getting myself used to 30 frames. And then I did also try the demo for One Piece Odyssey that came out, which I played the first half of that. Great looking. Fantastic playing. The little bit I did play, I played through the first half of the demo. JRPG. It's a lot like Dragon Quest.
I'm actually a little surprised you jumped. I'm a huge One Piece stan, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that.
Sir.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Huge stan. But I'm actually surprised you played that. Now I'm going out on a limb here, Pong, but I know you play everything. That's kind of you're a grazer. So did you enjoy it though?
Yes, I did. Absolutely. Sweet. Again, it reminds me of Dragon Quest. I actually read One Piece back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I wasn't like hardcore, and
Yeah.
I've seen episodes of the anime, but certainly by no means have I sat down and watched 800 to 1,000 episodes of that thing. But I love the characters. I love Luffy. I love all the characters, and so for me, this was a natural kind of thing just to hop into it and play around with it. It's gorgeous. The animation is absolutely gorgeous. Again, what they're doing nowadays with the anime versions of anime, I should say, within the games, the cutscenes to gameplay is almost seamless. It's ridiculous. It's so cool. It's like you're playing a cartoon. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I had a great time with that. And then I also dove back into my old crack Halo Wars 2. I popped that baby on, and I've been rocking out some RTS action. I put out a tweet after playing it again, saying, it's the return of the RTSs to consoles, right? It's the comeback generation. We're going to see a lot of them have already been announced. And so I asked Phil, and I asked Sarah, and I asked Greeny, and everybody over at Xbox to make sure to get Halo Wars 3 out this generation, because I think they should. So that's what I've been doing this week. So it's been a lot of old games.
Ooh,
yes, I have a ton of new games I could be playing, and I probably should be playing, but that's not how my brain works. So I've been rocking out to the oldies. So we're doing good. Yeah.
Awesome. But that's the life of a grazer. You already know. Pong plays everything. Never know. Shout out to Mav jumping in the chat. Shout out to, once again, K Asante. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us, man. But yeah, Fuzz, what you been up to, Fuzz? How you been? What you been playing?
Well, I've been pretty good. Glad to be here with you guys, man. Just so much stuff going on as far as gaming news. Great that we have a new guest on here. First time meeting you, so awesome having you on here tonight.
Thank you.
Look forward to hearing your takes on things. But as far as the games I've been playing, well, I'm still on my old addiction of Division 2, especially given the Ubisoft news as of late. It's like I might as well get in as much time as I can before servers get shut down. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think they're going to shut the servers down.
I'm only laughing to keep from crying. So yeah,
but yeah, just a lot of Division 2. Been tinkering around with like controller setups for Ready or Not and Ground Branch on PC. Still have yet to get a good controller setup for that, and I would really love to get one for that game. Ready or Not, I got a controller setup for it, and still getting my butt handed to me with some of those AI. Just you open the door and it's like you're already dead, or it's like if you don't already have what do you call them? Not a smoke grenade, but if you don't have like a flash grenade or something like that right off the bat, even sometimes when you go to throw them in, they're shooting through the door already. So it's like, yeah, make sure you steer clear of doors and walls that are shootable and stuff like that. But other than that, still collecting cars in Horizon 5. Looking forward to upcoming stuff for later this month as far as the showcase. But man, we got a lot of stuff to get into, so let's do this.
Man, let's get into it. Once again, shout out to all the people out there watching. Appreciate you guys' continued support, man. So we're gonna dive right in, man. We will actually start with the poll of the week this week. Once again, if you want to be a part of that, that is every single week on my YouTube on my Twitter account. Sorry, that's all that's down in the description below. You can follow me there, be a part of that every single Monday. But we had a phenomenal poll of the week, and this was courtesy of you. So shout out to Fuzz. So this is actually Fuzz's question. So awesome question. Had over almost 200 votes. So shout out to everyone who voted.
No wonder why it was good.
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. See, look, mutiny every week, man. Every week. I'm turning into Goku with all this abuse. You realize that? That's all that's happening, Pong, right? So great question. Shout out to you, Fuzz. You actually threw me a bone here. I actually cheated. I asked Fuzz. I said, man, I'm stuck. He's like, here, man. He threw me a bone, so appreciate you. But the poll of the week this week was, what feature, service, product would you like to see Xbox bring back if given the chance? We had a couple different options. We had custom consoles, Mixer, and then Snap, the Xbox One feature. Then we had other option. So the Snap Xbox One feature actually won the poll with 35%, which actually, I guess, not surprising. With the Atom, with people's high usage of other apps nowadays, and the more powerful console, that feature will probably work a lot better. But we'll start with you, Amon. I don't know if you voted on the poll of the week, but out of those options and choices, which feature would you like to come back, or even if you had one that wasn't on the list?
I was unfortunately unable to vote on the poll,
Okay.
but
Okay.
if I could bring one back, it would be custom consoles. I loved collecting custom consoles back in the day. My dad was a massive gamer, so yeah, we used to get custom console skins, custom consoles. So as many custom consoles as we can. Yeah, I'd love to see it. Almost for every big release, give me that.
Okay, that's pretty fair. I
Mhm.
think that's the more reasonable one.
Mhm.
If we're looking at the options, I think that's the more reasonable one. I think there are some games that we're expecting to have custom consoles. Not
Mhm.
obviously the big ones, maybe a Starfield custom console.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah. No,
you
but
know,
like I want to see some of the smaller games get that same love too. Pentiment. Pentiment was a massive hit last year.
yeah.
Maybe a custom console for that. Redfall, Minecraft Legends, all the games coming out this year. Why not? It doesn't hurt to add more consoles, does
Absolutely. No, I do agree. I think the entire panel would agree with that. I don't think none of us
it?
have an issue. Now, the wallets
Oh.
may not agree, but I think we all agree. But we'll go ahead and throw this over to Pong. Well, I don't know if you voted Pong, but what was your option? What would your choice be, brother?
Look, I always give you a sympathy vote on these polls, so I'm always there voting, man. So don't worry about it. Listen, no, this one. If I was still watching like the NFL and NBA, if I was still big into sports like I was, Snap would have definitely probably been my vote. I used to use that all the time on the Xbox One. It was fantastic. Be able to play games, have the game on the screen. It was beautiful. I absolutely love that. But since that's not the case, competition. We talk about competition all the time, right? We
Mhm.
talk about what it does for any industry, any product, and we're missing some competition in some ways to Twitch. And
Oh,
I think
definitely,
Mixer,
man. Definitely.
yeah,
Definitely.
Mixer, had they kept that alive and had they revamped it, they really had something there. And I know obviously internally they didn't believe, it was worth it. They obviously probably, for whatever reason, killed it. But I think had they kept going with it and had they redone some things to be able to have that instant stream capability from the Xbox to a place like Mixer with that did have a really good community and really had a lot of support and people that were Mixer fans. And I think had they kept going with that, I think they would have had something special. It would have given competition to Twitch. It would have given people an alternative. Again, this is the same problem with YouTube. We don't have a main competitor to YouTube. We got a bunch of smaller ones trying. But as of right now, it's YouTube, and then there's everybody else. And right now, for streaming games and that kind of stuff and hot tubs, it's it is Twitch.
Twitch and
So
everybody else.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Twitch and everybody else. So I would love to see Mixer come back in some form. I would love to see them try again, even if they got to start from scratch. They've got they've got the resources, they've got the infrastructure. There is zero reason why they couldn't put a main competitor together. Sure, it could take some time, but with the base of Xbox and the notoriety, I think they could really do it. So yeah, I voted for Mixer on this one.
Yeah. No, I listen, and I want to actually boom and throw this back to you too, of mine. Just in regards to Pong's answer to the poll, mine. Kind of want to get your opinion regarding that too. So I don't know how I don't know how maybe you had or used Mixer, but would you agree? Because I tend to agree with Pong, and we've mentioned this here at the Shop Podcast about the lack of competition for Twitch, and we see
Hmm.
Twitch goes through these ebbs and flows, but ultimately it's on its own. There's really nothing else that
Right.
compares to Twitch. I know YouTube gaming it should be just because it's YouTube, but it doesn't in that particular
Right.
streaming space.
Hmm.
They have some big streamers over there, but for the majority, it's Twitch or nothing. So where you at on that idea of competition for Twitch?
Look, so competition for anything is almost always good. When you have two major companies competing, it's gonna push both companies to do better. Twitch at the moment, again, is sort of like a monopoly in that space. Mixer, I don't, I'm not quite sure how big it was when it was a thing, but obviously having a second option to stream games would definitely be helpful. And yeah, I'm in full agreement with Pong over there.
Okay, awesome, Pong. So, and I'm gonna ask you one more thing too, Pong. Just to kind of piggyback off of what you said,
Yep.
and we're gonna throw it over to Fuzz, and he'll give his answer. But as far as so essentially, what would be? So, give me like 2 or 3 things that you would have done. They give you the keys and said, "Here, we're gonna give you a year to turn this thing around." What are like the first 3 things you would have done?
Well, I wouldn't give Ninja a huge contract. Let's put it that way. I would not have
Okay.
done that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I would have restarted a grassroots kind of campaign. And I definitely would have advertised and gone up against Twitch 1-for-1, but started a grassroots campaign, and I would have offered better incentives than Twitch does. Again, that's Twitch now is able to change the incentives. We've seen the ups and downs they've gone through with their content creators, but I would offer better incentives to even smaller channels to encourage people to get on Mixer and to produce content
Yeah.
and make sure that they knew they were valuable to what you were doing. Again, that's the benefit of a company like Microsoft as a corporation. When you've got that kind of cash and you've got that bank account, you can do things differently from the competition, as we've seen with Game Pass, and you can set the standard. And I think that they could have been very competitive by doing those things. Again, start a grassroots campaign, get the small people in before they become big, cultivate that whole community aspect that was a big part of Mixer, even more so than what's on Twitch. Keep cultivating that. Go 1-for-1 advertising, get some big shows together, just like Twitch does, and get some big, events like Twitch does. And then, like I said, just make your incentive package a better deal than Twitch, and obviously encourage people to produce that content and
Well,
have some people switch over.
imagine something like you have shows, you have things like
Yes.
BlizzCon and stuff, right?
Yes.
That you
Right
could
now.
stream on your
Yes.
platform.
Yes. It would have been freaking amazing. They could have dominated QuakeCon, BlizzCon. All those things could have been huge, right? If they get Activision Blizzard, and of course they didn't know this was going to come about,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
look back now, hindsight being 2020, as always, you look back now, like Matt said in the chat with cloud gaming. Talk about what a great, thing. You just push the button and start streaming, right? The cloud gaming would have been fantastic. But if they get the Activision Blizzard deal done, they're going to own Major League Gaming as well.
Yeah,
That
MLG,
could have
yep.
been that could have been revitalized if you had your own thing like Mixer going. I mean, again, it really is a big missed opportunity to me, for sure.
Okay. All right. No. Great breakdown, man. Once again, I wanted to get kind of into more than the surface level on that one because I've thought about that, and it's been a while since we've talked about that. But shout out to Chad as well, Keasante, 6 Inch, Blue, everybody. What's up, Luis, Jose, Shonsu, everybody hanging out here. And we're gonna throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion. Which one did you choose? Or did you go with the other option?
I went with other only because I would love to see all three actually make a return. I mean, like
forget that. I need all of these.
But like for right now, I think Mixer would be the biggest one. Although secretly, I do want custom consoles to be more of a thing. Like I see a lot of the cool ones that they do for charity, and that's awesome. But for those that want, something that's a little bit more within reach or a little bit more feasible, I think they should every so often do a custom console, especially for their big first party, or even maybe a partnered third party that they have the marketing rights to. I know that may seem a little far fetched, but they've done it in the past with like Battlefield, although it was more so a unique color as opposed to any special print or anything.
Yeah.
But given Starfield is coming out this year, I say a Series S. A Series X would be nice, but I think for a lot of those that are on the fence, maybe they're PlayStation only fans at this point, and they really want to play this game. They don't have the PC to do it. They don't feel like playing it on their phone or tablet. Make a Series S with the Constellation logo as far as for where the vent is. That I know that sounds simple, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of costs and tooling involved, but I think it's a worthwhile venture for them, especially for that title. Personally, I would love to have a true Forza custom console. Like
Ooh, that would
they've
be
done
nice.
one for the Xbox One X where it was blue with like racing stripes. I want to see something a little more involved, maybe a metallic paint or something like that with the racing stripe or something along those lines. But any custom console, I think at this point would be an awesome thing to bring back. Like I know, yes, they had the Halo Master Chief one, and that one was kind of hard to find. It was a little bit easier to find like months later, but it like when they opened up that order banks, it was as bad as like opening day for getting the Series X to begin with. So it was pretty hard to come across on launch day. But Mixer, like YouTube, and yes, I'm not a big creator by any stretch of the means, but I kind of miss from the early days of Xbox One where you used to be able to upload videos directly from your Xbox. They haven't done that since 2015. And it's not that it's Microsoft that's doing it, it's freaking Google being, a-holes about stuff where they're in this pissing match between them and Microsoft for every piece of territory. But you think they would be thankful, hey, they're using Chromium now as far as for Edge, and they're probably getting revenue from that, but they look at it as, oh, you're eating up our market share. Well, then why? Well, I guess it's kind of like open source. It's almost like, why'd you allow them to use Chromium or something? But that's a whole nother story. But Mixer in itself, I think having competition in the space for something like Twitch or something like YouTube streaming, I think is definitely needed. Facebook, it's already kind of sealed its fate to some extent.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
younger
I would agree with
crowd
that.
don't even want to bother with it. If it's like if their grandparents or aunts and uncles are on there, sharing pictures, they're not going to want to be on there, bothering with streaming games and stuff to have their family tell them, oh, they're wasting time or something silly. So Mixer was a nice fit. And I totally agree with Pong. Like, no slight against Ninja in any way, shape, or form, but it's like, I think there's so much that money that was, spent to get him to sign on could have gone so much further, sponsoring smaller channels or spreading some of the share proceeds once they reach a certain level, and have it where it's a little bit easier to become partnered or a little bit easier to reach, the marketing dollars or advertising dollars and things like that. Like that would have, rejuvenated things to the point where you would have probably, without having to really pay anybody's big check or whatever, you would have probably gotten some of those big names over there anyway at that point, because they would have been like, yeah, YouTube is changing rules again, and this rule's crappy because I can't do anything for the first 15 seconds, can't say curse words, can't show any violence and all this stuff. It's like, and it's just the tip of the iceberg, because it's like as soon as people get used to whatever formula for YouTube, they go and flip it on its head the next week. So it's like it's always going to be a moving target. So having Mixer has been great. And then just for the fact that, like, I already have, sometimes I'll have my laptop out for when I'm gaming for like tips and tricks or something like that, or finding where certain collectibles are. Because, like, perfect example, Division. I have 4 characters, and I'm pretty sure I've collected, if I was to combine all the characters, I've collected every collectible in the game like 2 times over. But some of them are missing 1 or 2 collectibles, and it's like, okay, I need to figure out which one am I missing. Okay, well, this video here, I can skip to this timestamp and blah 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 and find it. So if I can do like something like Xbox Snap, and by the way, PlayStation on PlayStation 5 copied that to some extent, you could go ahead and have the tips and tricks right on screen while you're actually in that or on the map or in the game and stuff like that. And yeah, I know it takes resources, but it was still a cool feature where it's like, if you're in completionist mode, I don't think you're worried about the extra resources going to Snap at that point. So that's just my view. I almost wish all 3 were possible these days, or like more of a focal point for Microsoft.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the evolution of all 3, right? Like, it would have been nice to just see the evolution along the way. And I think the big thing with the Mixer thing that I wanted to I didn't really hear. I think you guys kind of all brought it up, kind of the idea of it, but you allow, your creators to become the stars from the ground up. And that's what Pong was saying about, grassroots and building up the grassroots and investing in the grassroots, because you don't need to go buy Ninja. You can have your own Ninja.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Cultivate and foster.
But you cultivate and foster. You allow that to happen organically, and they just didn't. They Googled it, right? Like they Googled it. Shout out to Google. So they pulled the plug on that thing super quick. I mean, the tech was cool. There was some like ahead of the time kind of tech that probably would have super benefited now, because the hardware is so much better than it was back then. It would have just ran way better. Like, it would have functioned better.
Didn't they take that tech and move it to Teams? Didn't they use?
I believe they use it on Teams now too. And Teams is probably, I think Teams has gotten way better than it used to be with the new tech as well too. So Teams is doing great. So, but yeah, it's crazy to see that, like, they did pull the plug. Obviously, I wouldn't say in hindsight it was a bad thing. We're where the brand is at now, where the console's at now. I mean, we're not in a horrible space, but it would have been nice to see those things naturally evolve. So, man, shout out to everybody once again who participated in that poll of the week, man. Great warm-up topic here, but we are now getting into the meat of the shop podcast. Shout out to everybody watching us live. Stanley, Shane, Talos. Shout out to all of you guys. Once again, hit the like button, subscribe if you are new. Once again, shout out to our host, not host, but shout out to our guests. Sorry, go follow him. You know, everything down below as well. But we're getting into the meat of the podcast. So we're going to talk a little about this Xbox Direct showcase, this developer direct showcase. So I want to get into that. That was obviously the biggest news of the week, not even close. So just to kind of, and there's some other things that have happened since then, and I know we'll get into that on the back end, right? But we'll kind of start with what we got initially. So initially, we got an announcement that Xbox will be having a presentation January 25th. Now, we did kind of get hints of this, earlier, but obviously it's nice to get the full confirmation, the official confirmation. So essentially it will be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 25th. So essentially it will center around Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Redfall. All games we want to know much more about at this point in time that should be coming out very soon, within the next few months, several months, depending on how your definition. And then obviously there was another post saying that they're going to do something on the back end for Starfield. That's going to be a standalone solo show, which is obviously a really good thing. You don't want to take anything away from the other things that they're showing. And I think a game of the magnitude of Starfield should get its own event. We've talked about it a bunch of times on the Shop Podcast, but we're going to start with you on this one, Aman. Kind of get your initial impressions on, when they put out the tweet, when we got the official news, kind of your expectations, how excited you are, just kind of where you at on this developer direct.
I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, getting more information on games that have already been announced, especially release dates, because we were kind of left in the dark. We just got a release window more of 2023 for the Xbox E3 showcase. And, Xbox, if all the games rumored to come out this year do come out, they do have a pretty stacked lineup of games coming out. We have Starfield, Redfall, Minecraft Legends. Am I missing something?
Forza
Horizon 5, and
Forza Motorsport.
Motorsport 8. There's a stacked lineup of games coming out and getting release dates, getting more information. And the most important thing is this show is developer led. So you're going to get to hear firsthand from the developers, not the hosts of the show, which I think is a different approach to doing these shows. And I'm looking forward to see getting more information on the games we already know exist. So, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So I do agree with that as well, too. I do think, and I want to do shout out to you for mentioning that, because I think that was one of the first things a lot of people mentioned was that it is developer led. It's not, there's no host. There's nobody standing up there kind of leading the show in between and saying, hey, this is what we're seeing next. They're going to allow it to kind of organically roll along and everything will kind of roll into each other, which is kind of new. This is very Nintendo Direct-esque. Right. So that's kind of.
Do you guys think after this developer direct, we're gonna get like an Xbox Direct format? One every quarter, because after this year, I would say there'd be a stack line of games coming out almost a big game every quarter, right? So do you think we're gonna get something similar to that?
Yes,
hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, Paul.
Yeah, no, I can kind of roll that into what I'd say.
Sure, go ahead.
This whole thing, anyways, because it's all part of it. I've been taking victory laps this week for all of our shows this week because we took a lot of heat here on the shop.
Oh yeah,
a lot
definitely.
of heat every show for bringing up marketing, being told that we are, not marketing people, that we don't have degrees, that we don't work for Xbox, we don't know anything. I was personally called an idiot from the chat at one point.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so again, we deserve a victory lap here. This is why we discuss this. This is why you can go back 2 years ago and hear us discussing it after the ZeniMax announcement of the acquisition. Obviously, again, none of us claim to be experts. This is all opinion. This is all editorial when we speak about this stuff. But that's why we do this, and that's why we ask these questions. That's why we criticize. That's why we have these bigger discussions about the industry as a whole and specific companies and what they're doing, because that's how passionate we are about this stuff. We don't care just about the games. And if that's you, that's great. That's not a problem whatsoever. There's different levels of interest for everything in life. But for us, it goes deeper than that. It goes beyond that. And so when we were talking about this and about Microsoft and Xbox specifically, this is exactly what we were asking for. And obviously, what we were saying aligned with what Microsoft felt internally. So again, sometimes we talking heads who have big opinions get it right. And this time we are right in this matter, because we started looking after the ZeniMax Bethesda acquisition was announced. We started looking at all the studios and we knew they would have a boatload of content. All right. And that's even before ABK and all that kind of stuff. We knew they were going to have a boatload of content. And while love their E3 showcase, absolutely love it. Don't want that to go away. And we talked about that too. Would they, would we rather have smaller shows or one big show? I think we all said both. Why not both? We can have that. It made perfect sense looking at State of Plays, looking at Nintendo Directs. It's a great way to spotlight and focus the games that are close to release. It's a way to get the attention drawn to those games outside of their YouTube channels, outside of the Xbox Wire, outside of Major Nelson. That doesn't draw the number of eyes that a show like this, if it is done well, if it is done consistently, you develop a relationship with your fans and also with fans outside of the Xbox ecosystem who all of a sudden start realizing, yo, Xbox has got a lot of stuff coming. Like we're used to, and I'm talking for the people who aren't a part of this ecosystem, we're used to Halo, Forza, and Gears. Now we're talking about all these other games coming out. I need to drop in here and check out what's coming up. And again, there's a lot of people like that. And that's why Nintendo Directs and State of Plays work, because people show up from all over. I don't own a Nintendo. I haven't owned a Nintendo system personally since the Super Nintendo. I still watch Nintendo Directs. Okay. I did it before I jumped in this community and started podcasting. Why? Because I'm interested in what they got coming. And you always see the community rise up. Oh, is Metroid 4 Prime going to finally be announced? Are we getting a new Switch? Is a new Zelda coming? It's every single time a Direct is announced. And it doesn't matter if it's fake, like if it's fraudulent hype because people get these big expectations. It doesn't matter. People in droves show up to watch these shows, and then they learn about all these smaller games or all the games that are close to release, and it's a good thing. That's exactly what Xbox is taking on here. That's why I said to Amon, yes, I believe this becomes a regular process. Now, whether it's 2 times a year, because they still do have the showcase, they also obviously have their presence at the Game Awards most years. Of course, this past year we didn't, but they could return to that. The Tokyo Gamescom, the Tokyo Game Show, they're at a lot of shows, right? So do they need to have one every quarter? Maybe not, depending on the year. But if you've got new releases coming and you don't have a show that you're planning on showing them off, it's so easy to do one of these directs. And again, we saw them hiring last year for this reason. Right? They went out and hired some people from IGN. They went and created that new little studio that we just saw, a month ago or whatever it was, where it popped up. They've been planning to do this. Again, it aligned with everything we were saying. Microsoft obviously saw the light. They were looking at their content and said, how are we going to give this stuff the proper due that it deserves? How are we going to make sure that we've got people realizing this is what's coming out? Now that the first parties are starting to show up and the pistons are starting to fire, right? This is exactly the plan. And this is why we talked about after the Game Awards, we were disappointed that they didn't show up, but as we talked about here, as I said live after the show, if they had this showcase ready, the end of January, beginning of February, well, then it makes total sense why they weren't at the Game Awards. It has nothing to do with Keighley. It has nothing to do with it being a Sony Award show. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It simply was that it all worked out at this point, that they were going to have their own Direct, and they had things lined up for that, and they weren't certainly going to give that to Keighley, even though it still makes some sense. And I think they do go back to the Game Awards after this past year. I think they do go back there because there's so many eyes on it, but they want to save it for their first ever time doing this. So again, this is all working out perfectly. I think this is a fantastic way to do it. The fact that they came out extremely transparent, telling us what they're going to show, giving us the amount of minutes. 43 minutes is a really decent show. It's not an XO show, it's not an E3 show, but for a direct, that's a good chunk of time. 43 minutes, a lot can be shown in there, but they were transparent. They even came out and addressed the Starfield, elephant in the room, whether or not it was going to be there. They addressed that appropriately. Again, this is the communication aspect that we also talked about. So great job. Bravo to Xbox. I can't wait for the 25th. I'm excited. I can't wait to see more Redfall, more of Forza, and obviously even Minecraft Legends. I'm interested in seeing some more as well. And then, ESO, guess what? Elder Scrolls Online, everybody says, who cares? Guess what? One of the biggest MMOs out there. Okay. Yeah. It keeps rolling along, and they're supposed to announce a new feature. Okay. They said they're going to have a new exciting feature. I'm a little hyped here. There's an outside chance that I get my character transfer at this point. It's possible. Maybe they figured out how I can transfer my PlayStation character that's locked over there onto my Xbox, and I can jump back into ESO. So I'm even going to be interested in the ESO stuff. 25th, great date, great way to promote it, great way to say, give us all the information that we needed about it, and now we can just sit back and wait for the show. That's the best part.
And I'm pumped. Like I said, I've been chomping at the bit to talk about this. And I want to highlight a couple things that you said before we throw this over to you, Fuzz, and obviously get your great opinion on this breakdown. So obviously the highlight for me personally is the format. And that's kind of what Pong touched on, kind of in length there is the format, And once again, I see you guys in chat. I get it, Zink, right? Like, I get it, 6 inch, right? I get it. But I buy these products. All four of us own Xboxes. So there's no that's not the issue. So, and you're supposed to have opinions, about these things. So I just want to get that out the way too. But I do just kudos to Xbox. Like you said, I'm not giving us a whole lot of credit, but obviously sometimes, like Pong said, sometimes we do get it right. And I do think this was the right move 100 times out of 100 times. The format did need to be changed. They needed more shows just by sheer content value. There was do the math, right? I get another 8 studios. This is before the ABK deal. I get another, 15, 20 plus games. What am I going to do with those games?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Correct. I can't keep the same I can't just keep E3, Gamescom, TGS, and then the VGA. I can't do that. I have too much content. So therefore, I need more shows. It's pretty simple that we're not, once again, Pong, we're not analysts. Me and Pong don't have master's degrees in math. Like, this is just, once again, we're just plugging things in here. So we were always on that train that just by sheer volume, they needed an additional show. And I do love the fact that they are going about this format, leading it with developers, having no hosts. We obviously want to get the information about these games that are coming out. Release dates, mainly, I would say that's at the top of the list for most people. And I would say that's the majority of the reason most people are probably going to watch, although we're watching anyway. Like, I would watch the show regardless, but getting them release dates are crucial, especially if those games are in the next 3 to 6 months. We need that information. People have plans and, financial plans and got to move money, whatever they need to do. It's important to give the consumer time to prepare for games to come out. So, and I just want to see more game footage as well, right? Like, I'm dying to see more Redfall. I'm dying to see more Forza. I know you are, Fuzz, as well, and we'll get into that. I know you'll get your chance here, but I'm super hyped. I love it. And once again, like Pong said, this is the reason why they skipped the VGAs. Like, I don't really think there's any doubt that tweet right after the VGAs from Aaron Greenberg makes complete sense, right? Like, this is exactly what he was talking about. And that they understand, a lot of people, them not being at the VGAs rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So this is what they've been planning. So I'm super excited. Like you said, what did you say? Was it confirmed 43 minutes, Paul? Or 45 or something?
It was
like
40,
okay.
43. It was because the ESO show, they're having a separate ESO right afterwards as well.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
To expand upon everything. So that's how people figured 45. And then Greenberg came out and clarified and said, we're planning on the show lasting approximately 43 minutes. So
okay. Yep. So we got it from Greenie. So we got it from the horse's mouth. Awesome. So 43 minutes. That's I mean, I don't know I know, Pone. We talked about this last week, and I'm not gonna make a left here. This is it's not Friday,
Right?
I don't
You're
want to make a left. Shout
It's
out
not
to
Xbox
Mav in
Ultimate.
chat. Shout out to Mav. I love you, brother. I love you guys. Shout out to Caitlin if you watching.
I'm just glad we don't have Psychonauts calling it from space on his 1980s cordless phone. That's all I got to say.
Jesus Christ. Take that helmet off, Psycho. No, I'm just playing. I appreciate you, brother. Shout out to Psycho. But yeah, no, I'm pumped, bro. Like this is, like you said, this is exactly what we wanted. The timing seems right. Like it works. You know, January is already an awesome month, you know, for Xbox Game Pass, and just it's kicking off 2023, which is supposed to be this monumental year. So getting it off, you know, getting it started with a show, especially if it's a really well put together, well produced show, that's a chef's kiss. And I love to see that from Xbox. So we're going to throw this over to you, Fuzz. I don't want to drown you out here, brother. Love to get your opinion on just the direct itself and, you know, everything we've already been talking about.
Well, I think the like Pong had already touched on it as far as their transparency. I think the big thing, mentioning the Starfield separate event was huge, because we all know the pitchforks and torches would have been out as far as why no Starfield? Where's Starfield? I mean, obviously there would be good reason to do so, but I think it's one of those things that they're now trying to get ahead of any of the FUD or the narrative of, you know, the ones that are not interested in the game to begin with, or the disinterested, as you should call them. But I think the big thing now is that the rumor having that we're going to get release dates. That's huge for me as far as when it comes to Forza. Redfall, we kind of already heard, you know, a little bit of a delay, pushback kind of thing. So getting a release date on that would be super cool as far as knowing when that's going to fall compared to Forza. But the big thing for me, I want to hear some more details on Forza. I want to hear the car list. I want to hear the track list. I know that they're already doing like the day-night cycles and the different tire compounds. Show me some of the ins and outs as far as, well, a lot of that stuff I'll be able to figure out on my own, but show the masses a lot of these improvements that you guys have made. Like, they've already said it in text, but show the handling improvements, show, you know, the tire wear, the track condition changes when the sun goes down, and how the track cools and how it makes it a little bit slicker in certain spots and stickier in other spots. So I'm looking forward to all the details on these games that they're going to have, and knowing that, you know, it's 43 minutes. That's another big thing, giving us, you know, at least a time frame, so we know it's not going to be like 2 hours. Oh, and we'll take a piss break, or we'll take this commercial break, and you know, there's not going to be like this host that, you know, and host. There's nothing against hosts and stuff like that. A lot of times when they pick ones from like the community or in the gaming, you know, space in general, it tends to help move things sometimes, but other times it could be a bit of a distraction. Like, if the devs, especially like when you hear some of the interview stuff from like the devs over at Arcane, how they're passionate about, you know, Redfall, I want to see that. And I know the ones for Forza are the same way when it comes to them talking about those details. When you're pulling into the pits and you have to make the decision if you're going to stick with the soft compound or switch to hard compound. So stuff like that, I love seeing the devs go into detail. Now, the time when I don't like seeing the devs is it's usually more so, and I won't say it's just indie devs that do it, but it's like the ones where it's like, oh yeah, and you know, an inspiration for this game was our dog, because our dog likes fish, and we made this cooking game. And no, I don't want to see any of that. But I think the way they're going with this format, I think it will be more like what we've seen from Arcane in the past, as far as like the previous you know, like heads up or display and interview that they did a while back. So looking forward to this. It's, you know, I know there were a lot of people on Twitter and in spaces talking about, oh, what, it's 2023, where's Xbox, when they're going to, it's like, calm down. It's the 8th. Let's not like act like they just fell off the map.
It's
like
crazy.
Early in the year, well, coming back from vacation.
I saw people on the 3rd, forget the 8th. I saw people, it's in the DMs. I got the receipts, man. I can take screenshots. I'm on the 3rd. I'm like, what is going on here?
It's like, are the banks even open yet? I mean, like,
I mean, personally, I was hoping that Phil was going to throw out a video with him popping a cork of champagne and then running down the entire roadmap for the next 3 years. I mean, that's really what I was looking forward to.
Got it.
Yeah, and it'll all be on a shelf, all on a shelf.
Right,
Yep,
right.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Make sure you got slow motion, zoom in, enhance the picture, enhance the shelf. It's like, yeah, no, but I'm looking forward to this showcase the late part of this month, and hearing that we're going to have that separate one for Starfield, and hopefully they go with this. I don't know if it needs to be every quarter, but I'm fine with it as long as they stick with a formula that works. I don't want them going back to some of the other stuff that we didn't really have the interest in with the Xbox directs that they've had in the past and things along those lines, or the ones on Twitch where they had influencers that I've never seen before, and they were taking 15-minute breaks almost like every 15 minutes. So but as far as everything else, I think this is a great way to kick off the year. February is a huge month as is. We already know that there's 2 or 3 major titles coming to Game Pass for February. We already had a few titles drop in the Game Pass so far now, and we got a couple more coming in the later part of this month as well. But yeah, I can't wait. The end of this month is going to be like extended gamer Christmas, but for the new year, I guess. So
next week is Monster Hunter Rise and both Personas, Persona 3 and Persona 4, and then we've got Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition at the end of the month. So yeah, we're rocking and rolling. Monster Hunter Rise next week is going to be huge. Obviously, I love the Personas, but not everybody does. But Monster Hunter Rise,
we gotta play that Monster Hunter Rise.
Top tier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're a Persona fan of mine.
Oh yeah, I love Persona. Persona 5 is probably one of my top 10 games of all time.
Oh wait, nice. Have you played Persona 4 Golden yet?
No, I haven't played Golden yet. I'm planning on playing Golden and Persona 3 Portable. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm planning on playing them both this year. So,
I can't wait to hear your thoughts after you play Golden on if that is better than 5. I'll be interested.
Interesting.
Because until 5 Royale came out, 4 was considered the best Golden,
right?
But only Sony people had gotten to play it because it was only on the Vita and on PC, right? So now people are going to experience it for the first time, and I'll be interested. I haven't played enough of Royale yet to say that I like the characters better than 4, so I can't. I want to see somebody like you who played 5 and not played the other ones and see how it turns out. Persona 4 Golden is fantastic, brother. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. So yeah, I'm all in.
Awesome. So man, so I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap that topic up once again. Chat, let us know how you guys feel about the poll of the week, everything we've been talking about so far, as well as this Xbox Developer Direct. It's gonna be amazing. Once again, January 25th, that's 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so I'm thinking about even taking some time off to stay home and watch it. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I was considering, I'm like, man, I don't even know, but I don't want to be in the middle of work and you know what I mean? I really want to sit and digest all of that. So we'll get that figured out on the back end, chat. But either way, shout out to all you guys, man. So we got to, what we do now? We turn it over to the other panel members here. My other amazing 2 gentlemen who make me look good every single week. We're actually going to start with you this week, Fuzz. Throw us just right into the sunset with us, brother.
Okay. Now, just before I start, Pong, were you playing anything Ubisoft or no?
I can go anyway. I've got the topics laid out, so you take whichever one you want, brother. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'll go with Ubisoft with Guillaume saying it's all on his.
Oh Lord, I saw
staff. That too. Man, I won't say how the mighty have fallen because they haven't completely fallen just yet, but they're definitely a shadow of themselves. And one of my favorite, studios, I would say up until probably 2019. Then it seemed like they just couldn't figure out their formula anymore. But talking about Ubisoft, CEO decided that, hey, let me tell the staff the onus is on them to reverse the company's misfortunes. They recently had an earnings call that showed they're not doing so well. Surprise, surprise, I guess. But with that being said, Yves Guillaume has reportedly told staff the onus is on them to reverse the company's fortunes after providing a dire financial update on Wednesday. Following the weaker than expected software sales over the holiday season and a new delay of Skull and Bones, the company slashed its revenue forecast for the current fiscal year. It also canceled 3 unannounced games, but we'll dive into that at some other point. But it said its plans to make some I guess 200 million euros is in cost cuts over the next 2 years through targeted restructuring, divesting some of the non-core assets and natural attrition. So, as someone that has known some people that worked at Ubisoft or know people that used to work at Ubisoft and have moved on to other studios, it seems like they've already had a somewhat of a, I wouldn't say a flood, but a good bit of their talent that made the games that we know and love, as far as whether you're a Division fan or Rainbow Six Siege fan, or if you're an Assassin's Creed fan, Far Cry. A lot of the I guess original studio heads that weren't in any sort of allegations and things have already left the building, and you could see some of the, I guess, shifts in the quality of the product, as well as upper management, being the Guillaume family or Guillemot family, making some decisions that may not have been fully, I wouldn't say accepted, because he's paying the bills, but they weren't what the fans wanted, nor were they in some cases what the devs wanted. So hearing him say to his staff, hey, it's all on you guys to kind of fix the ship, or save us, or prevent the walls from closing in. I want to say, Aman, what is your take on either if your boss was to ever say something like that for any company you've worked for, or if you were a studio head or a developer over at Ubisoft, how would you feel after the CEO said something
like,
along those lines?
I see. That's like, I would quit. Like, what, I'm working hard. I'm creating art, and if someone just says, someone who's not directly involved in the process of creating, they just come in and sell my work, I would definitely take offense to that. I feel bad for everyone who's working at Ubisoft right now. To just have your owner come out and publicly, well, I guess not publicly, but to have that email or that letter be leaked, obviously it must be very unnerving for them. I feel for them.
Nice. Good thoughts on that. And as far as Ubisoft is concerned, is there any particular franchise that stands out to you as far as like one of your favorites, or are you less of a Ubisoft fan?
I'm not the biggest Ubisoft fan, but you mentioned earlier Division. I love both Division games. I've put in like 60 hours into each of them. Love both of them. Any particular franchise?
Fuzzy's like, that's cute.
I would say I like Rayman. Rayman used to be one of my childhood favorites.
Nice.
I love that game. Assassin's Creed, the earlier ones. I'm not the fan of the new RPG system they're going for after like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think. I would say early Assassin's Creed, Rayman, and the Division.
Well, they're definitely looking to capture some of the old Assassin's Creed
with
magic
Mirage, I
in their
heard.
upcoming one. But as far as Division, it's one of my favorite games, and it's not to downplay your amount of hours. I enjoy anybody that even will play Division to at least make it to like the level 30 cap or anywhere into the 20s and have fun with it.
Fuzzy, let him know how many hours you have. Let him know.
You don't even. So I'm
it's not in hours. It's more like
it's
days.
Days.
Like,
months at this point. It's probably months
70
at this point.
days.
70-some days.
Yeah, 70-some days.
Because
Yeah.
I'm probably like 40 or 50 something.
Yeah. PTK is up there as well. Yes.
And I think Division 1 was even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's somewhere in the 160 to 200 plus range as far as days. I think it's even more than that. I think it's. I have to go and check again. It might even be past a year at this point.
That's like MMO. That's like World of Warcraft numbers. That's crazy.
But I'm curious to know what's all of yours like most. What games have you clocked the most hours in?
Oh man! So for me, I would say the Divisions are probably the utmost non-racing games I've put the most hours in. I've put 1,200 hours. No, I'm sorry, 1,700 hours in Forza Motorsport 7, and I think it's now around 1,900 hours in Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 5, I took a break from because it was kind of busted in the beginning, but I'm slowly catching up to about 600 hours in just this year for Horizon 5. GT7 last year, I did not know. I put well over 2,000 hours into it, and that's after
Wow.
putting 1,200 hours into GT Sport.
Mhm.
Motorsport 6 is probably 1,200 hours. Motorsport 5 is probably 1,000 hours. And
Wow.
Fuzzy's the
These
epitome
are
of a
no
car
words,
guy.
the
man.
race
He's
car
the
guy,
epitome.
man. Not even close, dude.
now, if I was to go on, like, check the old records of my PC gaming days of NASCAR racing, because I used to do a lot of mods for that, I would have to say that's got to be 3 years worth of time
Wow.
just in like from NASCAR racing 2003 back in 2002 all the way up until probably 2009 is the last time I played it with doing mods and things like that. So I used to play that daily. But another game, Grand Theft Auto 5. I have a lot of modded hours as far as PC, and then played it on PS3, played it, beat it on PS3, played it and beat it on PS4, played it and I'm about 60% through, I think, on Xbox One through to now to Xbox Series Edition. I didn't buy the latest gen version since I have the PC, which I can do the same type of mods to it, type of thing. But yeah, those are the big hour games.
Wow.
But then Assassin's Creed, I'm averaging, I think I want to say 70 to 80 hours minimum on everything from Origins up to Valhalla.
That's right.
So I would probably be, oh, if I had to guess, back in peak Call of Duty, peak Halo, it's thousands. Like, it's not even close. Like, there was a streak from probably Call of Duty 4 all the way through Black Ops 2 where that's all I played almost. Like 90% of my gaming time was Call of Duty. So it's thousands. Like, I can't even count like how many hours, bro. Like, it's probably double what Fuzz was talking about, like 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
It's crazy. Like, and then Halo probably somewhere in the thousands as well. Early Halo 1, 2, 3. Once again, probably thousands of hours lost in that too. I wish they actually were able to keep track back then how many hours you're able to put in games. So I would probably those are like easily far and beyond anything else. Division's cool. Like I said, I got about 45, 50 days in Division 2, which is a lot for this generation. Like the last 2 generations, that's probably my most played game. But yeah, so the Halo Call of Duty peak prime, nothing's even close. Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, no, I would say back in the day, your Call of Duties, your Battlefields, for sure. Single games, like for me as a grazer, it's always hard to do this. I mean, if I get into the hundreds, that's pretty good for me because I'm always moving on. Like that's ridiculous. Like, my Cyberpunk first playthrough was almost 300 hours. So that's just ridiculous for me. I'd probably say Skyrim as a single game between the versions. I'm probably up there 300, 400 hours. Halo Wars 2, I just looked today, 21 days, so 500 hours in Halo Wars 2 nearly. So yeah, I would probably say Call of Duty, or between Call of Duty and Battlefield back in the day, that's probably my most played game. Like Bad Company 2 is probably somewhere above 500 hours, I imagine. So that's usually where I'm at. I don't do thousands, generally speaking. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever reached again because I just graze. So anytime that I get even above 100, it's like, yo, I like this game because that's telling me a lot right there. So yeah.
Yeah. For interesting thing about me, I heard you guys mention a lot of shooters. I don't like first-person shooters, so I play the campaign if there's a campaign, but multiplayer, I could just never get into it. Maybe because I'm not that good, but what I do love is a good Soulsborne game, and the most hours I put into a Soulsborne game was Bloodborne. I put in 167 hours.
Nice.
It is one of my all-time favorite Soulsborne games. I like it better than Elden Ring. I know it's a hot take, but another game I put in a lot of hours into is Persona 5 Royale. I think I put nearly 198 hours. I got the platinum for that. So that was one of my toughest platinums, and I had a fun time with it. And then Cyberpunk 2077, I
Yep.
put in let me check exactly how many hours I put in. I put in 176 hours.
Nice.
And
Nice.
I didn't get the platinum, but I not the platinum, sorry, on the Xbox. I got like a 78%. But yeah, when the DLC comes around, Phantom Liberty, I'll probably go back and get the 100%
Yep.
for that. So yeah.
You know I am.
Nice. So
Now, as
go
far
ahead.
as first-person shooters, one to try that's more co-op than anything, Insurgency Sandstorm. That's that's another one of my go-to favorites. It's one where you can be in with 7 other people against AI. So you basically go and clear, building to building or like a house to house type of deal, and then you have like a standoff at the end towards the 15-minute mark, let's say. But you could either team up with people that use communication, and it's awesome at that point. It actually has a lot more of a real feel to it at that point, or you can have it where you're in with a lot of randoms that are used to Call of Duty and they're standing in the doorway and then they get wiped, and you usually wind up having to clutch it or something like that by being the last man alive to kind of clear off the wave and stuff. But definitely give it a try.
Awesome. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I can do co-op. I can do co-op. It's like I find that fun, but when I'm playing alone against a bunch of real people, I'm like,
guys. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. But when I'm playing against a bunch of real people, I get humbled very quickly. To say the least. But yeah.
No, but back to the Ubisoft stuff.
Yves, get them all.
All right, I am back. Sorry.
No problem. No problem.
right,
We're getting
let's
back to
see.
Ubisoft now.
All right.
Well, I'll have Pong. You go on this one as far as with hearing Yves Guillaume's or Guillaume's recent email. What would be your, I guess, response or reaction if your employer or you're the CEO of the company you work for sent out a mass email like that? How would that make you feel?
I've had those emails before in my line of work. We've received those emails before, so I've been in that position. And one time, the industry I was in was highly competitive, just like the video game industry is as well. And you could go a lot of different places, and pretty much packed up and left. Because I knew I could go make more money somewhere else and I didn't need to put up with that garbage. Right. So, and that's really the way the video game industry is. So no, this is absolutely, I can't believe it. Gaz had some very choice words for Yves last night. I won't go that far. But I am going to say that this is the epitome of what's wrong with Ubisoft. Like, this is the leadership has failed Ubisoft, and specifically the Guillemot family has failed Ubisoft. And to turn around after everything you've done, and I'm specifically talking about Yves here, including lining your pockets with Chinese money, recently selling off, selling to Tencent, not the general Ubisoft stock, but making a deal with them to buy actually into the Guillemot holding company, which means they're lining their pockets themselves. And then to turn around to your employees and say, now it's on you, ladies and gentlemen, now it's on you. Like I've said, my analogy is this is the same as the captain of the Titanic after him and his crew run into the iceberg, turning to the passengers and saying, well, you get to determine whether or not we sink or we survive. So get to pail in water, right? That's basically what he's doing here. This is awful. This is absolutely awful after years of HR problems that still have not been addressed.
We're not even going to get into that. That's
no, we're not.
You can even dismiss it and just talk about like just the gaming part. But
I'm saying that's on top of it, right?
For sure,
and internally they've come out and done polls saying, nope, it hasn't been taken care of. You've been hemorrhaging talent left and right due to your over the top size, your bloated size of 20,000 plus employees. You still have amazing talent within that company just because you have sheer numbers there. You are lucky to even still be floating the way that you are right now, but your stock price is now at a danger point of a takeover level. You are in, again, it would be tough with Tencent's involvement, but it's still a danger critical point, and it should be all hands on deck. Instead of being all hands on deck, your captain turns to you and says it's on you. That's awful. Okay. At the end of the day, Yves, if he loses, Ubisoft will still be a multi-millionaire. He gets to go on with his life, and his employees get to decide how they're going to feed their families. It's absolutely the epitome of what's wrong there. And I can't believe that he actually had the gall to do this. I think that this goes back to starts a long time ago when they lost their way. Somebody in our chat this morning on Living Split Screen, I forget who it was, but I think it was Gogo Poe, actually. Shout out to Gogo. Said that Ubisoft is a publisher that's still in the 2010s. They have not moved forward. And I have to agree with that. They are running their business as if this is still, back then in the 2000s. They have not adapted at all to the way the industry has gone. They've tried, but their trying is throwing as many things against the wall as possible and praying that one sticks. And we know how far that gets you. It doesn't. There's no vision. And when you don't have a vision from the top, that trickles down to everybody else, and they are just floundering. They can't find that headwind that they need. They're looking over at 2K. They're looking over at EA. They're seeing those companies that have billion-dollar franchises that just print money. And yes, Assassin's Creed Valhalla made $1 billion mark.
$1 billion, yeah.
But they don't have that reoccurring revenue that the games as a service and free-to-play games. So they've been chasing that golden goose without any vision. Instead of worrying about making a good game first and then thinking about how you can monetize it, we know internally, firsthand knowledge here, folks, know people that have worked with Ubisoft that their teams have brought different pitches of games to the table, and management has looked at them and said, yeah, but how are you going to monetize this? Listen,
crazy.
That's crazy. You completely have lost the narrative if that's the first words out of your mouth on a pitch, okay? They have let IPs turn to dust, much like Splinter Cell, which we went a whole generation, one of their best IPs. They have bastardized the Tom Clancy name and every single one of those franchises. They are ghosts of what they formerly used to be, and some of them aren't even recognizable at this point. So all of that has led to this moment in time, and Yves' answer is to put it on his employees that are still there with him after they have been busting their butts and trying to make the best of a terrible situation at Ubisoft. And then now they get this on top of everything else. I would be looking elsewhere again. Yves has got to know that talent is in high demand throughout this industry. These people, while it's not the easiest thing to do in the world for everybody, especially when you've got families and you got to think about that transition and all that kind of stuff, these people have a lot of places they can go. And now it comes down to the fact that we know, Grubb came out and said that Ubisoft had made the rounds already, approaching everybody for a merger or acquisition, and they're basically laughed at because of their size, because of their bloated ways, and they were basically laughed at everywhere they went. At this point, whether it's an acquisition and somebody like an Amazon decides to try to take it on, or they themselves, there's going to be trimming. And obviously Yves said they're going to cut 200 million euros within the next couple years. That's going to include studios, and that means jobs are lost. And I feel deeply for the devs that are wrapped up in this, that aren't going to have a choice in the matter at all. For whatever reason, they stick it out, and the next thing you know, they are given another email. Thanks for your service at Ubisoft. You're no longer needed. Good luck. It's going to be an awful, awful time. And I expect, as I said on Living Split Screen, that the Ubisoft we see today will not be the same Ubisoft we see in 2 years, whether it's acquisitions or whether it's their own contraction internally where they do trim out. They're going to have to do it because they just can't sustain this. The House of Cards is falling right now. And Yves decided to come in and hit the table as hard as he could with this. So.
Awesome takes on that. Yeah, it definitely sucks for those that are going to probably be on the chopping block here in the next few months. Hopefully they'll be able to find a place to land in all these other studios that are definitely in need of talent. And the market being what it is, they should be able to find a pretty good place not too far from where their studio is currently located, because it always seems like there's studios right next to each other in a lot of places around the world. But Blam,
Yes, sir.
you go to the office in the morning, you get an email similar to the one that Eves sent out to his employees. What are your thoughts reading something along those lines from the CEO of the company you work for?
Well, I got sick time to use, so I don't think I'll be. Yeah. So I mean, first and foremost, but no, just in all seriousness, it's astronomically stupid, and I don't use that word very often on this show.
Mhm.
But like you said, it's legitimately, the analogy was perfect. It's like the captain on Titanic turn around and saying, "Hey, well, I hope you guys can really swim really good or get a bucket. I hope you guys are in shape, because we're going down if you guys aren't, dumping this water out." You know what I'm saying? So like that's a bit ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's well noted. There seems to be perpetual issues, and this is notwithstanding the HR stuff. We're not even going to include that because that's messy. I'm not even going to get into that. You know what I mean? That's HR stuff. You're very similar to, the way ABK was ran. If you aren't familiar, with that situation, chat, that's, you can draw some conclusions there. But outside of that, just the game stuff. They went through this pre-Assassin's Creed Odyssey, pre-Assassin's Creed Origins. They had a period of time where people did not want to play Assassin's Creed. They did not. They looked lost. They had no guidance. They didn't know where to go. Assassin's Creed was a juggernaut of a game, and they ran it in the ground over and over again, just trying things. Like Pong said, their idea of innovation, let's just do a bunch of shit and hope some of it works out, on top of ignoring already established IPs. That's what annoys me the most. You have what you want, what you need already. You have the Division 2. You know what I mean? You could have done something with Ghost Recon. They've tried to dress up Ghost Recon in any type of game. It's been a BR. It's gonna be an RPG next. Yeah. We're gonna get a Ghost Recon RPG for sure. They're gonna try it, I'm telling you. So their idea of innovation seems to be throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks, while ignoring what they already have on the table. And it's sad to see that Eves came out to say something like that, while at the same time lining his pockets, at the same time saying that we're going to be cutting some fat. We're going to be trimming some fat. Oh, by the way, bust your ass too. You know what I mean? What type of effect are you having on your employees? What type of reaction do you think you're going to get? So it's asinine. For one, I do agree that this company will not, if it continues to go the way it's going, it will not look familiar at all in a few years. And unfortunately, the fallout may be studio closures. They may take some teams and try and combine them. And then, maybe, obviously they'll still have to trim some fat. They'll keep some people, but combine some studios. So we may lose a lot of IPs. We may never get some back. And there's a lot, and Ubisoft is sitting on a lot of iconic games. You already said Splinter Cell. That's one of many. So if you want to go check the wiki, go check Ubi's wiki and see what's over there at Ubisoft. You had Mario and you dropped the ball. Mario doesn't go anywhere else. Nobody else gets Mario.
Yeah.
Is Take-Two getting Mario?
No.
I don't see it over there. I don't see it at 2K's now. You have Mario and you dropped the ball. If that doesn't tell you anything, come on now. What are we really talking about at the end of the day, man? It's insane. So it's sad to see, because ultimately the fallout is going to be those employees who have nothing to do with that. And they've essentially been, their creativeness has been trimmed. It's just been chopped off. You can't work in an environment like that with those expectations, under that duress, on top of them constantly trying to tell you to monetize games, and okay, well, we'll fund this game, but hopefully it blows up really fast. And then they have games that they're still in production. Skull and Bones, at this point, who knows what that game is going to be? I still don't even know what the game, what the premise of the game is. Who knows when it's coming out? That game is in developer hell. Shout out to I believe it may have been Cole, or somebody posted a picture from 2018. They were at an event, and it was in front of a Skull and Bones advertisement. What are we talking about now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they seem to lost their way, and he's clearly not the what they need as far as leadership,
No.
or probably anybody up under him. They need to go ahead and clean house, and hopefully, like Pong said, maybe somebody like Amazon comes along, says, you know what, I know you guys have 20,000 employees, but probably should have like 2,000, but maybe we'll figure that out. There's gonna be a lot of cuts regardless of what happens. That's just the nature of the business. So whether it's a takeover by Amazon or whether it's them trying to internally trim the fat, there's going to be casualties, and that's the unfortunate part of the business.
Man, oh man. Awesome takes
It
on
was
that.
Ainge. Sorry about that. Lewis said it was Ainge. Sorry, but I thought it was Colt, but it was Ainge who took that picture in 2018.
Yeah.
Hey guys, do you remember Beyond Good and Evil 2?
Oh man, we don't even.
Yeah,
That's called
that yet,
vaporware,
Paul?
baby.
You played that yet, Paul?
Vaporware. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, the thing for me is, remember when they had the gamers ear about the whole Vivendi, hostile takeover, and it seemed like for the most part we were on their side as far as, oh no, you guys don't need to be in a hostile takeover. Now looking back, it's like, looking at how he uses to run the company, it's like, you know what? We should have probably just said, screw you, let Vivendi take over, because obviously they can see the writing on the wall before we can, or something. It feels like we're in Bizarro world at this point, because like you said, they have all of the IP and they've figured out a way to make it less, important or less relevant each and every iteration to some extent, by not listening to the fans, or not even listening to the devs that are listening to the fans, or just the devs' creativity in that regard. It seems like, you have games like Ready or Not coming out, and yes, it's early access, it's on PC, it's not even close to doing Rainbow Six Siege numbers, but you're letting Rainbow Six Siege sit there and just do the bare minimum. All right, we're gonna have a new season with new operators, but the new operators are broken. Well, we decided to have operators that came from some of the other Tom Clancy games, like Division. Well, you can't really do that in a game where 2 shots you're dead, or 1 shot you're dead, kind of thing. So they're just, I don't know. My fear at this point is that it's going to be a fire sale within 2 years. I think it becomes a fire sale within a year. And I kind of foresee Amazon grabbing the Assassin's Creed IP. Whoever gets the Tom Clancy IP, I hope they treat it well and bring it back to its former self, kind of thing. My guess on that, if PlayStation's smart and they're really serious about being scared about the whole Call of Duty, a Tom Clancy license, although I would hate for them to have it, but that's my Xbox fanboy in me. I think they would be better not that they would be better suited, but that would be in their best interest to grab that IP and make a Tom Clancy SOCOM, or just something. Somebody put that IP to use the way it should be. I would love for Xbox to grab it, but I just don't foresee
they got a lot
until
going on
ABK
right
is
now. Yeah, they got a
dry.
lot going on. So.
But man, that's all I got. You guys, thank you so much for your views and input and everything as far as this whole Ubisoft thing. I just hope for the best for those employees, and maybe 2 years we'll look back and be like, hey, they the employees turned the ship around and they found a way to kick Eves out some sort of way, or make them walk the plank. I don't know.
That would be best case scenario. But shout out to you, Fuzz, for the topic, man. Amazing topic. That wasn't even on my cheat sheet this week. So shout out to you. I did hear about it. We obviously talked about it in the DMs. But yeah, great topic, man. Let us know, chat, once again, how you feel about what's going on over at Ubisoft as well. Shout out to everybody watching, listening as well. Shout out to everybody in the future who will be watching. You guys are amazing, man. So we're gonna wrap this up with Pong. He's gonna lead us into the next topic, brother. What you got for us, Pong?
Yeah, let's have some fun. I don't know where Amon's on this, so we're going to have some fun, but we're going to talk about a game because that's what we're here for. We're going to talk about a game that's coming out in February. Day one in Game Pass. It is going everywhere. It is multi-plat, but it will be day one in Game Pass. And this game, I think, with what we got.
I already know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. We had a leak yesterday, I think it was. I don't know how many people are aware of this. You can go find it. It's been DMCA'd everywhere. Like nobody's touching this thing with a 10-foot pole. However, there are some people that have unlisted versions of the video out there. So if you really want to go find it, you can do so. It is fantastic. Watch. Of course, it's YouTube compression. But the game I'm talking about is Atomic Heart. This game has gone through its own sorts of trouble since it started because the developers are actually Russian developers. So they were in the opposite end of the spectrum from the Stalker team, GSC Game World. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they were getting flack and they were getting punished for just being located in Russia during the beginning of all of that over there. So, but they are still coming through. And this game has been on, I think, most of our radars since we've seen it.
Definitely. Day one.
This is a game that kind of gives old school BioShock vibes, a lot to it. It is crazy. I need to know what the F is going on in the story because the story looks ridiculous. I have no idea what's happening, but I want to know. It's set in a Cold War aesthetic. So we got a leak, 14 minutes of gameplay. But on top of the leak, again, if you didn't watch the leak, Amon, I don't know if you got the chance to see it or not.
No, I haven't watched the leak, but yeah, I'm aware of Atomic.
You're aware of it, okay. But we did also get some more information also while this was happening because good old Tom Henderson, who started up InsiderGaming.com, please go follow.
Shout out to Tom too. Yeah,
he's great, man. He is awesome, and he's got no worries when it comes to leaking things or talking about things because he's not backed by anybody. He's not underneath anybody's company brand or anything like that. So this man's out here doing the good work for those of us that like this stuff. So he put out a article on InsiderGaming.com. And he said, we won't share the video here as it's being slammed by DMC takedowns on a universal scale, but there are several snapshots of information that we'll relay. Atomic Heart's open world looks fantastic, diverse, and ripe with opportunities to explore. Enemies in Atomic Heart look equal parts terrifying and incredibly innovative and inventive. Combat seems to take elements from BioShock and Far Cry, with the player utilizing ranged melee-based attacks just as much as powers like telekinesis and lightning bolts. There's an AI system in the game that guides the player that is riddled with humorous sarcasm, as is the protagonist. And yes, you do see that in the 14 minutes. It's raw footage, straight gameplay with the music, with the acting, everything involved. It's fantastic. Everything looks fluid and seamless from the movement mechanics to the driving. There's a story that from what we've seen is genuinely thought-provoking and intriguing and leaves you wanting more or to solve the next puzzle. Yes, there are puzzles. You get to see that in the video as well. Not complex puzzles, but cool-looking puzzles that will add to the atmosphere. That's all I'll say about that. There's an economy, a crafting system, quite advanced RPG elements, an interesting loot system, and great voice acting throughout. Ultimately, it looks fantastic. We had smoke a couple months ago, too. I'll add to this a little bit, that this game was fake, that there was problems with the dev, that everything we were seeing up to this point was not real, that we were going to
vertical slice.
Yeah, we were going to be bamboozled by this company, that this was not going to be all that it's cracked up to be. Let me tell you, after watching the raw footage, absolutely untrue. And again, that's personal opinion. You may look at this game and not like the aesthetic. You may not like what it looks like, but you've got powers in this game that go along with weapons, and the weapons have elemental damage. They're customizable. There's a ton of stuff going on here. And I've been hyped from this game since day one. As I've said, 2023, we talked about, could be the best year in gaming's history on paper. As it stands now, you got your Spider-Man 2, you got your Zelda, you got your Starfield, you got major games coming out. But what's going to put 2023 over the top, and I said this a long time ago, is the games that come out of nowhere that surprises. The games that could, that maybe were on some people's radar, but others were like, we'll wait and see, that do hit. And I think Atomic Heart right now is in that category for me. I think Atomic Heart is going to be one of those games that potentially at the end of the year, when game of the year comes around, people are still talking about, surprisingly, to a lot of folks. They're going to be looking back and going, God, I can't get that Atomic Heart out of my head. Amon, I want to get your thoughts on Atomic Heart. Where you been with it? Have you kept it on your radar? Was it ever on your radar?
Yes, it's on my radar.
wonderful.
It's on my
It's-
Fantasy Critic.
Oh, beautiful.
but-
Oh, even better. All right, so let's get down to business. What
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
awesome.
read, what you've seen yourself from the trailers they've released, what you know about this game, what's got you excited the most? Day one, Game Pass. Are you
The
loading it,
Bioshock
downloading?
aesthetic. The Bioshock aesthetic. I'm downloading it day one. Bioshock is one of my favorite games of all time, and I just love that first person RPG-ish aesthetic and that creepy vibe it has. I'm a fan of it, but I am a little cautious about this game because
Okay.
just recently there was a game I was really hyped for that came out. It was called Callisto Protocol.
Mhm.
It looked
Yeah.
really good. The gameplay seemed fluid from the trailers. But when we played
Right.
it, the combat system is one of the worst combat systems in any game. Period.
So you're on that side of things with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm on
got
that
it.
side of Callisto
Got it.
Protocol.
Yep.
But so that's now I'm a little more cautious about Atomic Heart because it looks really good. It seems very fluid, but is it actually going to feel that way when when the controller's in my hand? So I'm a little curious and a little cautious to see where how things turn out. But I really hope this is a great game because we need more of those Bioshock type games. You know, now we got Judas
Yes.
coming out and
Yes.
Atomic Heart. Hopefully it does well.
Yeah, hopefully it slides right into that Bioshock. And again, if you're not
Mhm.
old enough to remember when Bioshock came out, it came out of nowhere. Of
Yeah.
course, people knew System Shock, but not a lot of people had played System Shock because it was a PC only game back in the day. And so Ken Levine and 2K, when they dropped Bioshock on us, I remember
It shook.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was that was like you guys talk about it like an Elden Ring effect.
Mm,
Like
yes.
it was like an Elden Ring effect back. Yeah.
back then, and we didn't even have the knowledge about those games back then.
Nope.
Again, we were getting late information from trailers and from game magazines. But I remember the game magazines going, "Keep your eye on Bioshock. This
Yep.
is something special. This is something you've never
98,
played
99,
before."
98,
Yeah,
99. Yep.
Even before it came out, they were talking about it like, "Hey, this is going to be one of those games." So, Bioshock changed everything. And of course, we are getting Judas, the spiritual successor to the Bioshock series from Ken Levine in his new studio, which is fantastic. But I think Atomic Heart has a chance to do similar things, trying new things. Again, smaller developer, indie style developer coming through, not taking risks in a way that we haven't seen before. So PTK, I don't know if you watched the footage yet. We did drop
I haven't.
the
I
DMs.
have not yet.
You have not watched it? Okay,
I
that's
haven't
fine.
watched it yet. I'm going to though.
Great. Just from what I read to you and where you've been with Atomic Heart to now, we are just a little over a month out from this dropping into Game Pass. Where's your hype level? Do you believe this potentially has the ability to come in as one of those surprise games in 2023? And even with all the big guys, even with all the big third-party titles releasing as well, on top of the first-party stuff, do you think Atomic Heart could be sneaking into conversations towards the end of the year?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been once again. Remember when it was just a little quick 3-minute sizzle trailer in that little
Yep.
sizzle reel?
Yep.
That's when we first saw it. It flashed for like a minute and a half, and then
Yep.
people afterwards were like, "Well, what is that? Like, what was that? Like, that's kind of quirky. Like, what was that?"
Right.
So I've been on it. We all spotted it right away. We all saw it, and we talked about this. So we all saw it was different and unique, and obviously the Bioshock aesthetic stuck out right away. And once again, we're a little bit older. Our average age on the podcast a little bit older.
Yes.
You know, we all get discounts with AAA. So, but yeah. So I've been on it since day one, bro. It looks amazing. IGN actually has some gameplay as well.
Yes.
I believe they have like
They've
a
been covering this a
19-minute
lot.
long
Yes.
gameplay, and I watched
Yes.
that. It looked amazing. It looked phenomenal. It looked fluid. Now, obviously, when we get it in hand, that'll be the true test. But that's any game.
Right.
That's a basic expectation of any game. I hope
Correct.
the shit works. Like
Right.
that's not a left field for me. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I
Yeah.
get it. I understand though the trepidation. Some of it comes from the Russian, unfortunately, from the location of the developer, not for the actual work and talent.
Correct.
So some of that comes from there too. But I'm super excited, bro. And I haven't seen anything to like bring that level of excitement down at all. Nothing I've read, nothing I've seen. I don't even watch IGN, and I took the time out to watch that full 19-minute long video, and I'm good to go, bro. Like, I'm good to go. As soon as the game comes out, I'm downloading, I'm playing it. I'm extremely excited for the game. This is not a type of game we get very often, if at all. Matter of fact, we don't up until now. So it's awesome to see this type of game come back, that quirky. it's a mix of a lot of games. It's not really an RPG. It's a story, heavy narrative driven, heavy character driven, giving us a little bit of everything. Even the like the gunplay, the mechanics was tight. That was what was awesome about BioShock, is that even in a heavy story narrative driven game, the gun mechanics were really good. So that helped, elevate the game as well. So this absolutely, Pong, can be one of those games that sneaks in there. You start to see people stream it, that slow build up. You start to see people talk about it. You see the people with blue checks talk about it. You start to see, you start to get that slow build up, and then boom, all of a sudden it's all over the place. So I believe it can be that game. Maybe it, comes out and boom, it hits like a cruise missile, but maybe it's a slow build up. Once again, obviously, I think the minimum expectations are hopefully the game comes out and it looks and plays as well as what I've seen so far. But that's my own personal expectation.
Perfect. Love the thoughts there, PTK. And I think that we're all going to be on board with this one. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised. Maybe not us because we've been expecting it, but I think that there's potential here where a lot more people go, hey, you know what? I heard you guys talking about this game and I tried it. And my God, look at this thing. This is fantastic. This is something different than we normally get, like you said, PTK, which is a perfect opportunity for this team to really showcase their talent, but also put themselves on the map very quickly. And I think that that's another big part of this. We'll have another studio that if they deliver on this, and again, it's an if. We got to get it in our hands. There's a lot between here and there, as I always say. But if they do, we got another studio out there. And again, that shows the health of this industry.
It's the golden age,
teams push it. Yes, the golden age, brother. It's coming from everywhere. The content isn't just, all condensed into first parties and big third-party publishers. It's everywhere now. And that's a great thing for us gamers. Fuzzy. I know your thoughts on Atomic Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Please tell the chat. I don't know if you watched the leaked video or not. I think you did.
No, Pong watched it. I mean, Fuzz watched it for sure. Oh yeah,
yeah. So Fuzzy. So as somebody, why don't you talk about it? I haven't said anything about it because both Amon and PTK did not watch it, so I didn't bring it up because obviously they don't have no frame of reference for what I'm talking about. But talk about what you did see, what caught your eye in the leaked footage, and then just a little bit what Insider Gaming said. Has this raised a little bit of the hype level, even though you were already excited for the game? Where are you at with this?
My hype level was already through the roof. Like I jokingly said, well, I wasn't really joking. I threw this out there a while ago that I'm like, this game is probably going to be in Game of the Year conversations. Like. Yeah. There's something special about what I saw in some of the trailers. And yeah, I know people were saying, oh, vaporware. No, these guys have been working on this game for 7 years, 8 years, something like that.
Right.
Like it was originally like, it was only going to be a PC game. And I'm like, oh, please let this come to console.
Right.
But like, as far as like with the trailer, we already know it's almost like, and I won't say it's uncanny valley, but those mannequin robot things that you see and some of the other, like, I guess work robots that have saws on them or were probably like coffee makers or something.
It's crazy, yeah.
Those
like
things,
50s, Americana aesthetic.
Yeah, it's like if Russia had alien tech to some extent, but like in the 50s, that whole look of some of the stuff that's coming at you, and the fact that like. Another thing that it reminds me of as far as some of the melee combat, as far as from a visual standpoint, is what I loved about Dying Light, the first one, where you can slice through some of the enemies or you can just whack at them, but you also have a even more powerful elemental aspect. Like you had some element stuff in Dying Light, like as far as electric and so forth, but this takes it even a step further. Like, and I know you guys were talking about this on Xbox Ultimate yesterday, but the freezing stuff, like that is beyond cool as far as how you can have like the elemental to freeze them, you whack them, and if they're like mid movement or whatever, it slows down. So it's like you're not just like instantly freezing them. It's like it takes time for that to grind to a halt. And if you don't hurry up and blow them up or kill them or whatever, they're going to be woken up from that full momentum and coming at you real quick. So just the level of the enemy attack or bombardment, it just seems like the type of game that it's going to be enjoying and frustrating at the same time. Because if you get cornered, man, there was a few times where you could see the player was getting, thrown up against the wall a couple of times. But just some of the combat, the extra special abilities as far as the healing that you're going to have to do on occasion, the looting where you're just basically, your hand is like almost like a vacuum, getting some of the stuff out of the drawers and stuff, which is going to save time and make it so much easier, as opposed to having to go over here, press X, go over here, press X, go over here. No, it's like a all encompassing thing. I guess that's something that you'll probably have to level up as you go, type of deal. But the lock picking was innovative as far as like the way your ability through your hand is able to go through that, or some of the puzzles for the lock picking in some cases, and then the puzzles for like the like some of the boards and stuff that they were on. It looks like it's the type of stuff that doesn't seem like it was just thrown in there to kind of be a time sink or spread things out to make it longer than what it should be, type of deal, or long enough to make it feel like it's weighty as far as a game. No, it looks like you're basically having to work your way out of this mad scientist area and get to where you need to go within a reasonable amount of time before you get attacked by every mannequin robot and lawnmower and coffee machine that's out to kill you. But it graphically, yes, the leak video has compression, but you can tell from some of the particle effects or some of the the textures, that even though it's compressed textures, you can tell they put the time and effort into all the little details and make this feel like it's it's going to be a visual, I believe, a visual masterpiece once we see it on our, Series X or Series S console, or whether we got, a PC to play it on as well. I think this thing is definitely going to be a standout. I can't wait to get this game. I already got the thing set for the pre-download, so as soon as it's available for pre-download, it's already scheduled to start doing so. But man, just the visuals, even though it's compressed video, you could tell this thing is going to be a highlight, and just the mechanics of the weapons, the abilities, and some of the things that they had made mention as far as the different skills and abilities you're going to have. This is going to, I won't say it'll be Elden Ring level as far as engagement, but I think it's going to be one of the highlights of 2023. That's a third party, let's just say.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Great thoughts. Again, just to touch on a little bit, as you did about the leaked footage. Again, for being raw footage, for being just straight up gameplay in an open area, of just regular running through an area. This wasn't a boss battle like we did see. IGN showed off a boss battle with that big ball. If you guys have seen that,
Yeah,
it kind of transformed, was everywhere, was
like the
doing
ball
all
from
sorts-
Incredibles.
Yeah, doing all sorts of crazy moves, right? That was insane to me when we saw that. But this gameplay was just running through regular levels and kind of exploring, and the aggressiveness of the enemies. Again, I don't know if they had it on a high difficulty level or what, but the aggressiveness shown by the enemies was absolutely over
Isn't
the top.
there an AI component to that? There's an AI that works
Yes.
against you. It's like a central
Yes.
computer, like Skynet.
That's what
that
we
works against
think.
you.
But again, that's why I need to know more about the damn story.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me,
Well,
right?
Lord just said, shout out to Lord,
Yeah.
he just said there's a paragraph on the wiki.
Yeah,
that
I'm sure there
explains
is. I haven't looked at it yet because I want to
okay.
experience this, and I want to know what this is all about and what I'm getting myself into, right? So, but for me, again, watching that video and seeing just the normal kind of what your normal gameplay is going to look like, not a boss battle. It still showed the same level of detail that we saw in that boss battle, and it looked phenomenal. The aesthetic, that Cold War aesthetic, it's almost a minimalist type of way as well, but they do it fantastic. It looks great. It looks interesting. The puzzles look interesting. Again, the AI and the way that they were attacking him and coming after him. There's one where the guy freezes one of the AI, whatever you want, mannequins, androids, whatever the hell they are, freezes them in midair and with his axe, and this thing gets encased in ice, and then he backs up and he's trying to shoot it with his regular gun. and is not doing a whole lot of damage. So he switches over to like this plasma electric type gun, and he's about to fire it off. Well, that's about the time that this thing starts breaking out of the ice, and he misses the shot because he takes too long. And that, in most games when that happens, when you freeze them or there's a moment like that, the AI, the computer, kind of sits there for a second or two where you can lay into it with your guns. This thing was on top of him the minute the ice broke. It jumped forward and was like on him. That kind of stuff that we don't see in a lot of games is what intrigues me about Atomic Heart. This again was already hyped for me. I was already waiting on this game, but like legitimately, I'm taking the time out when this drops day one. I'm going to be there that night playing the game. I hope it's like a midnight launch. I hope I can even, take a quick trip to New Zealand and play this early because I want to get my hands on this game. I want to see how it feels because, again, as a first-person type game, a lot of it is going to be about the feel. Again, we hoping that this is going to hit 60 frames or shoot for 60 frames because it is a first-person. It's a fast-paced game when you're in combat, which is necessary. You got to have those extra frames. They do help. So I can't wait to see the performance of this. But if they really, truly do nail this, I'm serious. End of the year, game of the year talk, it may include Atomic Heart. We may look back and be like, wow, a lot of people didn't see this coming, but man, did this team pull it out and really hit it. I'm excited because, again, Golden Age of Gaming isn't just about the first parties. It isn't just about the big third parties. It's about all the smaller teams that show up and surprise. That's what we had in the 360. Even your BioWares, who were big back in the 360, they showed up with a Mass Effect, right? That turned into a legend. They showed up with a Dragon Age that turned into a legend. So it's about those games that you didn't know you were going to have your hands on necessarily, that all of a sudden came up and you were like, damn, they did something extremely special here. And I think this is going to be one of those. So great topic, boys. Thanks for all your input on it. Glad we're all excited for this game. I can't wait for February to come around and we can start playing this and talk about it for real.
Oh yeah, man, we are pumped for Atomic Heart, and I'm definitely going to watch that. So don't believe it. I'll give a full report back for sure on what I see. But I'm super excited, man. I don't think anything, like I said, has deterred any of us. Even like you said, some of the rumblings, from the peanut gallery, I don't think has deterred any of us. I think it's going to be a special game. From coming from an extremely talented studio in an extremely unique situation, right? So I think that's the thing that people need to understand, right? So to be able to put out a product of this quality in the situation that they're in is pretty, right, like unprecedented, would you say, Pong?
Yeah, I mean, it's not Stalker 2 level.
Stalker 2, yeah, but
yeah, that's like something
right?
else.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, support was pulled for them for people who don't know, because basically, everybody pulled support from all Russian companies because, kind of like China in some ways, the Russian government does have their hands in a lot of things, but they just indiscriminately pulled from a lot of people. So they were kind of shut out of the industry for a while just because where their location actually was. And some people thought Atomic Heart might not show up, might not come out, since all that happened. But here we are. So yeah, they definitely went through some things to get this game done. And again, they've been in production for 8 years or whatever it's been now. So they were deep into it already. So the fact that they got it finished and it is coming out and it's looking as polished as it currently is from what we've seen is pretty spectacular. So it is on a different level.
Oh yeah, chat. So let us know, chat. How do you guys feel about Atomic Heart? Are you guys excited as we are? Maybe you have some questions. And I do think there are some obvious things, people can ask, even us, right? Like obvious things that we can ask. But I do think based on what we've seen thus far, it is well ahead of, even where I thought it would be as far as like just, the initial reactions from first seeing it. So now that we're through the main meat of the podcast, we're going to open it up for a couple questions here just to kind of round out the show. We want to make sure we at least hit that nice even 2-hour mark. So, if you guys had anything additional, Fuzzy or Pong, that we could get into, or chat, once again, throw us a question or two that we can get into, man, it would be much appreciated. Shout out to Stanley, Lore Master, Lewis, once again, Shontu, Talos for hanging out with us. Boba, what's up, my guy? How you doing? But shout out to everybody watching us live, man. You guys are awesome and amazing. So what else do we have? I know there was a couple things, other things rolling around that we could get into, Pong, Fuzz, right?
One thing I want to just make mention real quick because of like a lot of people saying that Atomic Heart was vaporware. One game that is vaporware, or I believe is closer to vaporware than any other game out there right now, is The Day Before. And if you don't recall that game, think of The Division meets The Last of Us. And that's kind of that game that came out of nowhere from this kind of unknown developer where they're basically having it be Division with zombies, basically. And it's going to be like it's MMO, starts on PC, but coming to console. They were recently at the CES for NVIDIA, and they've shown some downgraded gameplay in comparison, well, graphically downgraded compared to some of the other stuff that they've shown in
Not
the past.
surprised.
But they're still saying that thing is going to be here in March, I believe, which
PC in March.
Yeah.
Consoles are still don't have a date yet, but yeah, PC it will be supposedly.
I'm even skeptical on the March for PC, but if that game does come out and it's anywhere near what they've kind of shown and then some, then I'll be happily surprised. But the more I've seen it, the more like remember how after Watch Dogs, the original one was released, and it was like, oh, it's a downgrade, and oh, this was never like what the original. No, this is, I think, a good bit further even than than the Watch Dogs situation. I think this is just basically a I don't know, a way to bring more attention to the studio for other stuff that they're doing as opposed to the game itself. But pleasantly surprised if I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. That's all I got.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I'm on board with you, Fuzz. Again, I was hyped for this game. From what they showed, I think everybody had the right to be hyped because it looked absolutely incredible when they showed it off. But then you start learning a little bit about the studio, about where they come from, about what they've done in the past, and you got to start asking some questions about what is really going on over there. Can we really truly expect this to be that type of game, or are we looking at a scenario where they have faked it, right? And I mean, we're gonna find out because again, D-Day's coming. For them, it's just a matter of time at this point. When we get to see it or when they have to show it, and then we'll know for sure. But like you, Fuzz, I'm hoping that I hope it's at least some form of what they showing us. Like again, if it's not exactly what we saw, it still could turn out to be a good game.
Yeah.
It still could have potential. And that's why I'm just hoping that that's the case, but we're going to find out soon enough. But good shout out, Buzz. Cause yeah, there has been some of that talk about that game out there as well.
Yeah. That is true. Shout out to Infinite Umbra Outbreak. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing? Jumping in here, man. Late. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us as well, man. Once again, we're taking questions, fellas. So once again, chat, drop a question or two. We'll get to it. If we possibly can here just to round out the show. But anything else, fellas? I know there was a couple other things. I don't know, Pong, you had anything or I know we had some stuff on the back end here. Let's see what we have. Man,
the Hogwarts 60 frames.
Yeah, there's some quick updates on that.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm excited about that game. But go ahead, Fuss.
I'm not even, and this is probably going to be an exposed moment, but I'm not even a Harry Potter fan, and it's not that I have anything against it or the series or anything. It's just I'm more so into like modern day or future stuff, like sci-fi stuff. So I've never really got into the Harry Potter, lore or anything along those lines. But Hogwarts looks like a game that I could have a lot of fun in.
Man, I'm telling you, I tweeted it out. I watched the thing. I was like, wait a minute, because go ahead. I'm gonna let you.
It looks amazing, and it looked amazing enough to the point where I'm like, man, if they can get 60 frames, I'll be amazed at that point as far as on these current gen consoles. And it's not that the consoles aren't really capable. It's more of, since they're not a first party studio, will they go that extra mile for the optimization? Is it one of those things where it's going to be 30 frames and sorry for you kind of thing with the way they did for what was it, Gotham Knights and stuff? I mean, PC, right. You could do 60 frames and you should be able to eke something out with consoles, but it didn't seem like, I guess, that was a priority. But it looks like Hogwarts, a lot of people were asking those same questions that they asked of Gotham Knights, and it looks like they have a fidelity mode at 30 frames and a performance mode that targets 60 frames. Now I know the
Yeah,
keyword being
targets.
targeted,
Yeah,
but
That's
it's
fine.
like if it's something that's compatible with VRR, that fixes it right there. But I think the fact that they actually mentioned that there is a performance mode is a great sign in comparison to what some of the other WB studios were doing prior. So hey, this thing is probably going to be another one of those big hits for this year.
man.
This one might actually hit the Elden Ring level as far as
I'm.
I know there's a boycott. That people are
Oh
saying,
yeah, that
but
yeah. There's that.
seriously, it's like at this point, I'm not going to get. Well, I'll just say this: the person that if you're trying to boycott it, that person's already got paid. The ones that haven't gotten paid or fully covered yet or reimbursed are the ones that made the game. So, good, I guess, not promotion, but good, energy as far as, trying to, stick to something. But that woman's already gotten paid for it. So if you're not a fan of her, then not buying this game isn't doing any disfavors or favors. So that's all I got on that.
No, I agree. It's a game that, once again, I watched the full gameplay, and it looked amazing, bro. They nailed almost everything. Like the fact that you're not Harry Potter and it still looks as engaging as it does. It still looks, the world of Harry, everything around you feels so Harry Potter. I know you're not the biggest Harry Potter fan. My wife and my daughter are huge Harry Potter fans, so I'm like surrounded by it. So I get it, right? But it looks amazing. And like you said, the fact they did come out with a performance mode, because that would have been the biggest question, right? That was the biggest question, right? Like, what is this going to run like? So, some question marks there, right? We'll see the performance side, when it comes out, but it could be a juggernaut. Like, if it hits the right way, that it's Game of the Year is going to look real crazy. Trying to leave some of these games out this year, it's going to look real crazy. So,
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Dead Space came out as well. And
That's
confirmed
another one.
Two
Yep.
modes too. Quality, 30 FPS, 4K resolution with ray tracing, and then they're going to have a performance 60 frames per second at 2K with no ray tracing. Again, I was worried about the WB stuff with Harry Potter just because it's WB, because we saw Gotham Knights did not show up with an option. So I was worried about that. But the fact that they gave us the option, even if it isn't a lock 60, I don't care, to be honest with you. All I want is the option. That's all I've asked for, and they're going to have they're going to have a mode that actually supports VRR. So again, those of us with TVs or monitors that do have the VRR, that's very important. And just having the option, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. The fact that you tried, the fact that potentially because you tried, that you could patch it later, optimize a little bit more, and get that lock 60. That's all I need to know from you guys. That's all I've asked for, is I don't need PC amounts of options. Just 2 modes, give it the best shot, unlock the frames, let us decide if we want to play it in that mode or not, but just have it there. So again, props off to them, both studios, both the Dead Space studio and of course the Harry Potter studio, for doing that. And I think that's a big move. I'm curious your perspective. Again, you're a younger dude. You haven't been gaming forever, but I'm sure you've played plenty of 30 FPS games. And you've played plenty of 60 or 120 frames games at this point. What's your feeling? Are you one of the people like us who can tell a difference, who now that 60 frames on consoles has become more available, not necessarily the standard.
For sure.
Is it something that you definitely think that the studio should be putting priority on?
Oh, for sure. There's almost no excuse at this point. We're like 3 years into the new generation. It's an expectation, at least all games should be 60 FPS on the PS5 and the Series X at least. It doesn't matter about the older consoles, but Gotham Knights is a good example. Again, that was a game I was really looking forward to. The Arkham trilogy, arguably one of the greatest gaming trilogies out there. When Gotham Knights came out, I was kind of disappointed. The gameplay felt inferior to Arkham Knight, which came out in 2015. Everything felt inferior, and it wasn't a good look on Warner Bros. Studios. So I'm almost, again, very cautious about Hogwarts Legacy. Again, because of the pandemic and all the development issues it's had. I've heard people say not so great things about the combat system in the game, so I'm cautious about it. But about this FPS thing, 60 FPS is the expectation at this point, at least. And if any major game that comes out in this generation should at least target that. That's the bare minimum, in my opinion.
Nice.
All right. Well, that's. I want to get to this question, and we'll probably wrap the show up on this one. So, shout out to Psycho for asking a question. And it's a great question. Put it up on the screen there. He said, "Question: Why is Sony trying to get rid of existing consoles with this new all-digital version coming out this year? And how much do you think the detachable disc drive is going to cost?" So, great question. This was another little tidbit we got this week. Now, I don't know, Pong. Fuzz, you guys, a little closer, Pong. I know you co-mayor, so you got a little bit more pull there. So I'll leave this up to you guys to lead me here on this particular topic.
I don't know, Fuzz. I don't know what your thoughts, Fuzz, are necessary specifically on it. Obviously, I talked about this with Steele this morning too. It's a curious move, especially if it becomes true that what we've heard is that the removable or the whatever, the extra hard drive, the disk drive, is not compatible with the current version of the digital PS5. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, that's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's from a business standpoint, just looking at it from way outside, moving to a one SKU is obviously a cost-cutting move. It makes everything cheaper, from delivery to production. Every kind of step of the way in making a PS5 suddenly becomes a lot cheaper, which of course for Jim Ryan is ultra important, right? His bottom line, anything that helps it is going to make it better. But how do you do this? Because we've seen companies try to have add-ons before, and they don't always turn out the best, right? It doesn't always make a lot of sense. So here you're going to have a whole, like, everybody buying one of these new PS5s is going to have a digital version. And then they're at the store and they're going to be looking at the salesman and like, okay, well, I'd like also, let me grab Call of Duty. And the dude's going to be like, yeah, you got to go on your digital store and buy it. And people are going to be like, what? And they're like, yeah, no, this doesn't have a disc drive, so you got to go buy digital. And they're like, no, I want the disc. And they're like, going to be like, well, come on over to this shelf, and we've got the add-on disc drive for your PS5, which is going to run you another $50, $80, $100, whatever they do price this thing at. I'm assuming it's going to come at $50, but it's Sony, so who knows? They could really try to go for the gusto here and come in at $99.99. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that doesn't always work with consumers, not the enthusiasts. Of course, the enthusiasts are going to be well aware of what they're buying. I'm talking about the parents going and buying their kids consoles, people that don't pay attention to this stuff. Those add-ons just aren't popular. Like, it's not a necessarily great marketing move for them. But again, from a business move, I kind of understand the one SKU tactic. Go ahead, Fuzz. Your thoughts on this? I'm confused.
I don't know. I'm conspiracy theory. My tinfoil hat's going on right now. So I think it comes down to, and people are going to probably roast me for this. If the thing still has liquid metal in it, then there's no problems. Well, unless the design on the inside is completely redone. But if there is no liquid metal in there, I'm gonna wholeheartedly say that it's to get rid of that first series of these consoles, and hopefully that people forget. And then, oh, by the way, by the time that thing hits, most of the ones that are sold of the previous will be out of warranty. So when they start failing at the 3-year mark or 4-year mark, guess what? You have to buy the new system that's completely redesigned to or not redesigned, but somewhat different than the other, with a whole new shell that doesn't have a disk drive built in, or Blu-ray or HD Blu-ray built in type of thing. So the non-compatible thing makes no sense to me. I mean, people were saying it's the most Apple thing Sony's ever done. So it's just a weird thing. Like, are you going to do a proprietary plug to make it so it won't work with the other one? Like, it can't be USB.
They said it was USB-C.
then you should be able to plug it into the front of
Right,
the.
right.
But then I guess if you have headphones and you're screwed, so I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. But then again, this generation, Sony's done quite a few things that don't make sense to me, like the $10 charge for the controller that you bought with the console. Well, the devs had to do more programming. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah. So
Fuzz.
the heated
Yeah, I
seats
don't-
in my car, I have to pay every time I turn them on because the assembly line people they had to put the extra effort in to put the seat in. Get the F out of here with that
Fuzz,
nonsense.
let's stay in conspiracy town real quick since you brought it up. Liquid Metal's one conspiracy, right?
Mhm.
Again, until I see massive problems, I don't, I'm not going to give that a whole lot of thought. It is
Yeah.
what it is. If I had a PS5, I'd be laying it down. I'll tell you that much because I don't take chances. But again, until it's a massive problem, and it might take 3 years, it might take 5 years, it might take 10 years until
Yeah.
these things, whatever. But let's stay with the conspiracy theory. To me, like the ultimate move here is Sony is pushing everybody digital.
Mhm.
UK sales just came out, right? And they're up to what, 90% digital now?
Yep.
UK, the latest stats, they're trying to force, in my opinion, the rest of the world towards that digital marketplace where there's no used games, where
Mhm.
they make more money off their storefront,
Yep.
all of that. They're like the ones, like even beyond Xbox and all of Xbox's, new ideas for a new ecosystem with Game Pass and cloud gaming and all that kind of stuff. Sony's really trying to force the hand of their consumers like, hey, we want you to be digital. If you really want to go physical, well, guess what? You got to go buy this separate add-on. So to me, like that's the bigger play here is to push everybody to push those digital numbers higher and higher and higher. They've already got the UK sewn up. The UK have done it themselves. But the rest of the world have been, we're still got a majority of digital, but we're not close to that 90%. This could really be Sony's play to push everybody that route.
And it's the perfect way to lock them into the ecosystem. If you're digital,
Correct.
you can't really hop out. I mean, it's not like you can go and sell any of that stuff. I mean, you just basically put it in a box and store it away, and you might come back to it when it's a retro console. But it's the best way to lock somebody in. I mean, Apple is famous for this stuff, and it's great that Sony's learning this, but it's going to suck in the long term because all those guys that are like, oh, I'm all about the physical. And it's like, well, that's just basically a key on a disc. So they don't even put full games a lot of times now on there because you have to go online to get the update, the day one patch and whatnot. So it's like, yeah, I'll put it to you this way. When both companies came out with digital consoles, I said early on, that's a sign. I give you 2 years, maybe three holidays before there's no more physical, or you have to pay extra for physical. Like it's almost going to be to the point where it's like those what is it, the limited run deals. I'd say by 2025, if you want physical, it's limited run or bus. It might even be by holiday 2024 even.
I think the next generation of consoles will be discless. It'll just be a digital console.
That's not too far off. I wouldn't say that's far off. Like just legitimately thinking about the trajectory of things going currently, like how fast cloud gaming is moving and progressing and all of that. So I wouldn't say that's too far off. Technology moves faster than a lot of us think. Like we only like understand it when we stand still. So like when you really sit and think about it, like the technology moves pretty fast. You know what I mean? So I do 100% agree with that, man. So great closing topic there, man. This has been an amazing show, man. Like this is a great opening show. We've had one show since, but this has been amazing so far. So shout out to everybody watching. Appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys had a phenomenal time here. We're gonna let the guests get into their outro and where you guys can find them as well. But I do want to start out with saying, Aman, shout out to you, bro, for coming out, hanging out with us. I hope you had a phenomenal time in chat. Do us a favor, please go subscribe, go follow Save the Game Media. They're doing phenomenal things over there, the entire conglomerate. Shout out to them. Nothing but positive energy, nothing but growth, nothing but good things forward for you guys over there. And you're a big part of that, Aman.
Thank you so much.
But
Thank
no
you
problem,
for the
brother.
invite. Thank you for the invite,
bro.
PDK. And I had fun with you guys. I got to talk with Pong again. Got introduced to Fuzzy, and excited. Hopefully, we can collaborate more in the future. And thank you guys for having me again. If you want to check out my content, it's over at Save the Game Media. We have 4 different podcasts there: an Xbox podcast, a PlayStation podcast. I run the podcast with all the movies, nerd culture movies, and we have a podcast where a bunch of us just get together and just talk about random stuff. So yeah, if you're into that, just make sure to go in the description below and hit the link. And yeah, hopefully I see some of you there.
Awesome, man. Once again, shout out for you for spending a little bit of time blessing us, with all of, your talent, your presence here at the Shop Podcast. Once again, just shout out to you and the entire team. Everything you guys got going over there. Much blessings and support. Anytime you guys are we're friends, all of that good stuff. So, definitely collabs on the way. So you guys watch out for that too, man. Once you're on the Shop Podcast, you're essentially family. So this won't be the last time you see him. Maybe some of the other guys over there at Save the Game as well here at the Shop Podcast. So shout out to you, Amon, for hanging out with us once again, brother. So let me throw this over to my 2 right hand man. These guys make me look good every single week. They make this show super easy and fun to do. This is the reason why I'm here, besides you guys as well watching in chat. You guys will be watching later. Let's throw this over to you, Pong. The Energizer battery of the Shop Podcast, brother. Phenomenal show, man. We got into really more than, we got into everything I really wanted to talk about this week. So I'm super juiced, man. I really want to go play some games now, but shout out to you, Pong. But let everybody know they can find you, brother.
Wait, is he on mute?
Oh, you muted, Pong?
Oh, I went mute instead of being live. Professional podcaster. I've only been doing this for a couple weeks, folks. Listen, everybody. No, great show, PTK. Like you said, Amon, great to have you on and hear your voice again, hear your thoughts again. It's been a long time, brother, but great to have you here. Thank you for coming on and joining us and adding to what the Shop Podcast is on a Saturday night, which is a great place to be and talk with my brothers PTK and Fuzzy. Love, again, I always say it because I mean it, that this is the best way to end my week of podcasting right here with these guys. So appreciate you being a part of it. Chat, you guys were all amazing as always. I saw the conversation. I'm lurking in the chat. Again, technology-wise, I don't interact as much, but I saw your guys' conversations, and it's great to have you all here. Thank you for the support. Nothing but love and respect for anybody who supports any channel, not just the Shop Podcast, but any channel out there. I appreciate you guys through and through. So you guys can find me, Pong Soul on Xbox, Pong Soul on Twitter. You know the drill. Next week, whether I'm there or whether I'm not there, which more times than not, I'm not, but Xbox Factor Podcast every Tuesday, Double Barrel Gaming. Mr. Boomstick is the man 5 days a week now. He is full-time. Even though he's actually retired, he's full-time podcaster. So got to go check out his content. And the Xbox Factor Podcast is all good things green every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. And then Thursday night, you know where I'm going to be. PM in the PM. Pong and Mav in the PM. 2-man show, but we do have guests. And this week, we may have a returning guest. A freaking fantastic, well-known member of the community is coming back potentially. Mav's got to confirm it. So look out for that announcement. But Mav and I are going to be there anyway. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, where Mav and I catch up and get into the news. We get the chat involved. It's a great time every Thursday night. Fun Speculation is the channel, of course. So be there. And then back at it Friday night Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculation's channel again. Go watch last night's show. We had Gaz for the first 2 hours, which was great. It was about 3 a.m. We ended about 4 a.m. his time, somewhere in that neighborhood. He was dead tired, but he came with the energy. He had some spicy takes. He made fun of Psychonauts calling us from space on a cordless phone from the 80s. It was amazing. We had a good time, as we always do. We laugh a lot there, but we also talk gaming news, and we had some good conversations. So be there every Friday. Times are varying. Mav hasn't settled in if we're going to 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, or if it's going to be the 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central time frame. But keep your eyes open, but be there. It's a great time every Friday night. Saturday mornings, you already know the drill. Living Split Screen. Me and my brother from another Steel Rain. We have now passed 700 subscribers, thanks to Boom and other members of this community. Guys, man. Yeah, we're on our way. We were trying to hit 1K last year. That didn't come true. Steel has bumped it to 3K this year, so we need a lot of help and a lot of work because we don't stream. Steel's been doing a little bit more streaming. We don't do all the extra content that a lot of people do, which we know. YouTube punishes us for it, and people just don't find us as much. But Living Split Screen is every Saturday morning that we possibly can be, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, live, raw, and uncut, as Steele says. You get 3+ hours. Most of the time now it's just 4, okay, over 4. That's what we do there. We get the chat involved as well. It's just him and I. We love to talk. We have a great time every Saturday morning. Start your weekend right with Living Split Screen, and then I'll be back here, God willing, with my brothers here on the Shop Podcast next Saturday night. Anyways, it's the golden age of gaming, people. You already know it. I've been trying to tell you this for the 2 years I've been podcasting now. Listen to me. It's the golden age. This year proves it. Hands down. It's already started. We're coming in even more. The amount of content for the next 4 or 5 years is insane. Enjoy it. Get out there this weekend. First of all, have a great weekend. But play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Thanks, PTK.
And no, not a problem, bro. Shout out to you, Pong. Once again, you can find him here every single week at the Shop Podcast, man. Bringing that energy, man. Keeping us pumped up and hyped up here at the Shop Podcast. Shout out to you. Once again, go follow Pong. All that information is down in the description below. Follow him on Twitter. That's probably the easiest way to keep track of everywhere he's going to be all week and everything that changes. But once again, Pong, appreciate you, brother. You make me look good every week, man. And last but definitely not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man. Let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Oh, just want to thank you guys for having me on tonight. Always a pleasure being here with you guys, and it was awesome hearing your takes on everything I'm on. Definitely look forward to maybe a return visit here in the near future. Always good having new guests, and like PTK said earlier, go ahead and check out his info in the description. Give him a follow. Check out the site that he runs, and just show him the love that you show us here. Always love being here on Saturday with my two brothers. And for those that want to hear my opinions or ramblings on anything gaming related, you can find me pretty much on Twitter and other social media at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Mondays on Xbox Lunch Break Special on Double Barrel Gaming. That's at 12 noon. FSP on Fun Speculations channel at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Fun Speculations channel. Breakfast with Boom on Double Barrel Gaming Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Xbox Ultimate on Fun Speculations channel. I believe we're going to probably be at 10 p.m. But keep an eye out on Mav's Twitter posts and Caitlin's Twitter posts for the time for Friday. And then right back here next Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Shop Podcast with my brothers. Look forward to seeing you there.
And shout out to you, Fuzz, bringing that smoothness to the Shop Podcast, man. Appreciate you, man. The man with the golden voice. So, Fuzzy Belvedere, man, shout out to you, man. My brother in gaming as well, man. But once again, follow me here. PTK Blam everywhere, mainly on Twitter. That's where you're going to find everything I'm doing, everything that's going on here at the Shop Podcast, the guest, the poll of the week, which is upcoming on Monday. So follow me to be a part of that. It gets, better and better, hopefully every week. I try and do a good job. I'm under a lot of duress for that poll of the week, man. I promise you. Shout out to Pong. Steel sharpens steel. You know what I mean? Iron sharpens iron. That's what they say, right? So hopefully I'm getting a bit better. But shout out to
keep you on your toes, bro.
Exactly.
That's all.
So shout out to everybody who watched and hung out with us tonight. Shout out to everybody in the future who is watching. Let everybody know they can find us here every single week. And if you want to be here, subscribe. Hit the like button. It does help more people find us. But enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your weekend. Please be safe. Go play some games. Have fun. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Peace out, everybody.
Later.